Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Two Films Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Metzger, guiding you through this plastic world, dropping bombshells hotter than Bikini Atoll. And joining me today is a man who's got his mind set on Jews. He's just David.
Yo.
How are you doing, David?
Pretty good.
Just good, huh?
Yeah.
You weren't frustrated earlier, raging at a CashOS installed computer?
No. Well, I was raging at KDE Connect specifically.
Oh.
I was trying to use the test out the presentation remote feature of KDE Connect on my Linux install, and it was giving me the agita.
Sounds like incredibly nerdy stuff that I'm sure some listeners have no idea what we're talking about. But we probably will get more into that later on. But that's a different podcast. But today, David, welcome back to Two Films. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it wasn't like we did an episode 2 or 3 weeks ago.
No, certainly not.
No. I mean, this is a, once a month kind of show for now. That
Indeed.
is, as of this episode. But yeah. Yeah, well, man, I tell you what, I really want to talk a lot about SteamOS and Bazite and CashOS and Linux in general, but this is a Two Films podcast. Unfortunately, we can't talk about that stuff unless it has to do with fascism and feminism.
Yeah, we'll just have to watch 2 films about Linux.
2 films about Linux.
I don't know if they exist.
Hackers. Hackers, and then the computer who wore tennis shoes, maybe? Oh, no. Hello. Hackers and war games. But were there any Linux systems in war games?
I don't think there were. I think
dang.
I'm pretty sure that movie was a little too early for that.
Yeah.
I mean, Unix existed.
Yeah, Unix was there.
Unix existed, which is what Linux is based on.
Yeah.
I wonder if Linux is ever going to become so popular that they decide to make like a Linus Torvald biopic. Wouldn't that be cool? Interesting?
Ooh, that would be interesting. And Robert Pattinson plays Linus. Oh, no. Tom Holland, David. Yeah. Tom Holland is Linus Torvald. That'd be awesome.
And then Christopher Nolan directs it.
Instead of Oppenheimer, it's Torvald. It's like, what have you done? And like Steve Jobs is like the Strauss character from Oppenheimer. That would be, and Pixar's involved. Oh, that'd be great. Oh, and Wozniak is played by Jonah Hill, David. Oh, I'm kind of liking this idea. Christopher Nolan's Torvald. I mean, at that point, just call it Linux. I think that'd be fine. And for you, audience, if you have any suggestions of 2 films we should do, or even movie pitches, don't send us your scripts, please. But if you want to send us anything, send them on over to snarpfanglepod@gmail.com, or you can just text Jake or leave a comment below. Alrighty, David. Well, today, in this year of the year of our Lord 2026, we have arrived in the month of July. We are 3 moons away from the release of the Odyssey, according when we recorded this. But when you listen to this, audience, it will be 1 moon away from the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's next big hit feature. This year we were thankfully graced with a Steven Spielberg pick, which was very okay in my opinion. And then we're about to get a Christopher Nolan film, The Odyssey, which I am very excited for, David. Very, very excited for. So I was thinking last week, hey, you know what? 2 things. I need to get back at David for him making me watch The Lighthouse back in October when we did 2 Robert Eggers films. And I figured out which movie that would be. And that film is Barbie from 2023. And then I said, well, we'll do 2 films that David hasn't seen because he hasn't seen that. But what else could we add it to? And I'm like, oh, Oppenheimer. He hasn't seen that. But then I'm like, well, why don't we just do Barbenheimer then? Because it seems like that would make more sense. So I think we're going to call this just 2 films, Barbenheimer, David. And then, sorry, the audience can't even see anything that's happening, but while we're recording, the lights above our head in the studio are flickering, and they're the only source of light right now. And it's very, very nerve-wracking, to say the
It's
least.
just one of those wonderful brownouts that is a feature of living in the great state of California.
Mm. And speaking of California and other fascistic states like Barbie Land, we are going to dive into that today. But anyway, so today we're talking about Barbenheimer, the giant fad and cultural sensation that was in 2023, the summer of 2023, that is. I don't know what you have, I don't know what memories you have, David, of this time period about 3 years ago, but I remember you had Barbie coming out, directed by Greta Gerwig, and then you had Oppenheimer releasing on the same day from Christopher Nolan. And I remember going to see Oppenheimer that discount day afterward. And I'll tell you what, David, my whole life I've never seen so much pink in a single day. I've seen a lot of pink in my day. I have many sisters that were actually far more cool than to use the color pink. But I'll tell you what, David, I've never seen so many women and men wear pink in my life than on that discount day at the theaters going to see Oppenheimer. And a lot of them happen to be in the Oppenheimer showing. So, David, what do you have? What memories do you have of this kind of cultural phenomenon? Back
I
in
felt like
2023?
you asked like what memories I have, like it happened
3
like
years ago.
like the 90s or
Yeah, what
something.
memories do you have about this 20 year ago phenomenon? Y2K, David.
Yeah, I mean I didn't pay it much mind. I I was intrigued by some reviews of Barbie that I saw that I was just like, man, what a strange film. I didn't have any particular desire to watch it, but it's just seemed like a strange movie to me. And then Oppenheimer, I figured would be good. I wasn't like dying to see it, but I figured I'd get to it eventually. And well, fast forward to right here, right now, I did.
Yeah, we sat on the couch and watched both of these films, and I'll tell you what, it was a very enjoyable experience. Well, most of it, I would say. Mostly the Oppenheimer part. The other part was sort of enjoyable, but in its own way, and I guess that's where we'll start today. So part of the title, we'll start with the first one, which is Barbie, David. You can touch, you can play. If you say, I'm always yours, I'm just Ken. All right, here's what the film's about, David. In the mystical fantasy world of Barbie Land, Barbie and Ken are living out her best and his worst life until Barbie finds out she's becoming more human each day. An existential crisis ensues, and the journey to the real world begins with cellulite, patriarchy, and Mattel along the way. Directed by Greta Gerwig, written by Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig. That's Greta Gerwig's husband, by the way. And then you have Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, let me get a list here. Kate McKinnon, Emma McKay, Sharon Rooney, Helen Mirren, Simu Liu, Kingsley Benadir, John Cena, Michael Cera, and Will Ferrell. All right. Continuing on with a budget of $128 million and a box office of a massive, huge, phenomenal $1.45 billion, billion with a B, and a runtime of 1 hour and 54 minutes, released in the year of Barbenheimer of 2023. David, what are your thoughts after watching Barbie for the very first time?
It's a very interesting film. It's certainly not boring. I wouldn't call it good, though, by any stretch of the imagination. It.
Ooh, I'm ready. I'm ready, David.
I'm unsure of what it set out to do. I'm not entirely sure of what the goal was, what kind of film this was supposed to be. But whatever it was, I don't think it succeeded. It turned into a weird, like, mix of slapstick comedy and advertisement for the patriarchy. So
With America Ferrera.
yeah. So very strange, but entertaining. Definitely entertaining, just not in the normal way a good movie is entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. I think just after you watch it, I was when you first start watching, I should say, I was thinking, you know what? This is entertaining. This is interesting. This is kind of like very bizarre. Like it feels like a Twilight Zone, especially with all the hand painted backdrops and everything. However, it kind of just consumes itself and narratively, I think, to where there's pretty much nothing at its core, and then it kind of fizzles out at the end, is how I would describe the narrative, at least. In terms of other aspects, like the acting, for example, Margot Robbie's great, Ryan Gosling's great. I think actually, maybe besides the little girl or whatever, each person and character, or excuse me, actor, I should say, played their character, I think, really well, as was intended. And they made it really fun. And I think you could tell that a lot of them were having a lot of fun while doing this project. Also, in terms of like production wise, the production design in this is amazing. Like, whole of Barbie Land is basically a whole practical set with, like I said, hand painted backdrops. And that was something I was reading through earlier here. Or yeah, they had all the backdrops were hand painted and, such and such, and designed that way. And even and we'll read it here later, but even all the props were made, I think it said 23% smaller than their actual size or something like that. We'll get into it. But the props, I believe, are bigger than the actual people, which is just like just like the Barbies when you play with them, obviously. Like you remember, as you did as you were a child once, David. You were a child once, right? You played with Barbies.
Sure.
Gender doesn't matter.
My parents always told me this story. I don't remember it at all, but apparently when I was a small child, they came upon me like playing with some Barbies, and I was like poking their privates and saying ow. I don't remember this at all. I was far too young for, that those long-term memories to set in.
What did they do to you after they saw you?
I don't know. They didn't tell me that part. They just said that's what they saw me doing when I was little.
Well, David, if you were a kid nowadays, they might take you to some kind of therapist and see if you wanted to be a girl,
Yeah, probably.
If they saw that today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Barbies are always kind of a strange thing as a little boy, just from personal experience. I had a lot of sisters growing up, mainly just like maybe one or two played with Barbies by the time I came along. And I don't know, they're just a staple of culture, I guess. But this film was kind of like, I really, the whole thing of what this film set out to do, just after watching it, this is what I was thinking. What did this film set out to do? Mattel wanted to make a movie. Okay, I guess we'll do Barbie. And I remember when it was announced that Margot Robbie was attached to produce, I want to say it was sometime after 2020 or whatever. And then turns out they got Greta Gerwig. And then I'm like, wait, the Little Woman director? And the chick who did, I think, Booksmart or something like that. Movies I haven't seen. But stuff that I hear has many different feminist undertones and overtones, obviously. And she's very much kind of this activist writer, along with her husband, Noah Baumbach. And to hear about them wanting attached to do Barbie, I'm like, what? Okay, well, this could be kind of interesting. But after seeing the movie, it's definitely not made for me. But what I will say, it was entertaining at the very least. I just think its own message and kind of the whole core of the film kind of just bogs it all down for its own detriment.
It's really funny that you say it wasn't made for you. It's like I struggle to think who it was made for.
I don't know. I mean,
because
yeah,
because I can't just. I mean, I have to imagine that part of the reason why so many like moms and daughters went to see this film had more to do with cultural zeitgeist than the actual quality of the film, had
Oh
more to do
yeah.
with marketing than the actual quality of the film. Because you watch it, I just can't imagine
Yeah, this made a
like
$1 billion, you know?
it's the marketing wise, it seems like it's aimed squarely at millennial moms wanting to go with their young daughters to see a movie. At least from the marketing, that's what it seems like it was aimed at. But then when you watch it, it's like I just imagine like a mom in like her 30s or maybe her early 40s bringing her daughter to see the movie, and then it opens with a straight up homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, it's
It just
what?
like, and chances are this millennial mom and her daughter have absolutely zero context for that at all, and are just sitting in like shock and confusion as to what they're watching on the screen.
I will say before we dive into kind of the more kind of the core of what we're talking about here, I do want to mention real quick. There's some people over at Warner Brothers. Their name is Mike. There's a duo at Warner Brothers here, and the names are Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. They're the reason why Warner Brothers has had this long string in the last couple years of successes. And in 2020, they were brought in from David Zaslav, who became the new CEO, Warner Brothers Discovery. And I want to bring this up because these two people are in charge of basically greenlighting and connecting creatives and funding all this stuff. For example, the new movie that Michael Mann wants to do, which is a sequel to Heat, he went to Warner Brothers and he said, "Hey, I want to do this for like $220 million." And they said, no, that's too much money. We'll give you $100 million. And then he was out, and now he's, I think, at Apple or Netflix or something to do it. So their kind of job is to not only connect creatives, but also to say no and be smart with the money they're given. So they've done say no to things like that, but they'll say yes to people like Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie. Also, stuff like George Miller with Furiosa, which wasn't a success, but they have many other successes. You got Sinners, Minecraft movie, Superman, Weapons, One Battle After Another. These are all films distributed and produced by Warner Brothers. And it kind of goes to show the kind of like repertoire they have over there. And I think Barbie kind of is this kind of this idea where they're connecting creatives or actresses or what have you to these certain properties and projects that they can connect with and distribute and make money off of. And honestly, some of it is mainly like, hey, let's connect ourselves to a Paul Thomas Anderson and get his movie off the ground, like One Battle After Another, or a what's the guy Sinners. I can't Ryan Coogler, that kind of thing. And then Weapons with like my boy Zach Krager, that kind of thing. And people like Greta Gerwig. So it's kind of like Warner Brothers has been doing this thing for the last couple years, and in fact broke a record where I believe it was like 11 films in a row that they had opened over, I think it was $40 million or something like that as of last year. And that was a record in Hollywood that wasn't broken until recently. And so that just kind of goes into like, I think the creative side of this, but also they got flops. They had the Joker 2 movie that came out. They got Furiosa. You got a bunch of stuff that kind of flops, and that wasn't really a great idea to begin with. Like, why would you spend a sequel this much money on a sequel to a Mad Max film that was a reboot that barely made any money at the box office, but was reviewed and rave reviewed over?
Which I don't get because I thoroughly
Oh
hated
yeah,
that movie. There was no movie.
we're gonna have to talk about that
It was
at some
just a
point.
it was just a tech demo.
Yeah, Fury Road, that is. Yeah, you never saw Furiosa, did you?
I don't think I did.
You're gonna feel the exact same way, I think.
Yeah, that's what I imagined.
Also Denis Villeneuve with the Dune films and that such. So Warner Brothers is like on this roll, and I think in 2023 you had Barbie, and this was kind of like going along. But let me tell you, man, I don't think I'm getting to something here, and that is the success of this film. you kind of alluded to it earlier, David. I don't think the success of this film is tied to how good of a script or how good of the acting or how any other thing that kind of makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense that this was successful because of what we're titling this episode, the cultural phenomenon, the Barbenheimer thing, the pink, wait, they're making a Barbie movie and it looks kooky. It's got Ryan Gosling. Hell yeah, brother, says the millennial mom to her daughter. Let's go see it. So I think you're kind of onto something is what I'm saying. But the fact that it was this successful boggles my mind.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where it's just the virality of it just kept building and building because it was such a unique cultural phenomenon. You got a Barbie movie with Ryan Gosling as one of the leads, and then you got a Christopher Nolan film, and somehow they've become attached to each other in the mind of the culture. In a day where the double feature has been a relic of the past for many, many years. Yeah, I just think it's one of those things that once the hype train started rolling, it was just such an unexpected thing that people were just all caught up in it who might not otherwise have been.
While you were saying that, I was looking at the lyrics to the Barbie Girl song because I just remembered it existed today. I'm so surprised. I didn't even think about the song at all during the film, like when we were watching it. And I just thought of it today. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about the Barbie Girl song. The song that's been played a billion times. Like this, I grew up listening to this song. And then to find out at the end of the damn movie, they weren't able to get the rights to play that song. They had some stupid Nicki Minaj do a cover of it. And it's like, huh? Dude,
Yeah.
you guys, you got $128 million. Come on, man. This is a classic, like early aughts, 2000s song.
Yeah.
Or late 90s, I guess.
I wonder if
man.
I wonder if it was some kind of what now, do you know that it was because they weren't able to get the rights?
That's all I was able to dig up at the moment.
Because I almost think that given the narrative direction of this film, that Greta Gerwig was just simply up her own ass enough to think that she was doing something cool or edgy by eschewing the obvious choice for credits, for at the very least for a credit song for this film.
You're saying that she wanted to move away from it,
or that she was trying to. I can almost see her trying to be like, we're gonna subvert expectations.
Oh, okay, so I actually found something.
You did find something.
In
Okay.
Variety, it says here that she wanted to include the original song to honor it in the words here. However, because of the bad history with Mattel and Aqua, because I guess Aqua did the song without permission from Mattel and they got sued in 97 about it because of it. Because of that bad blood, it wasn't included in the movie.
Interesting.
But Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice did a cover of it. So,
and
yeah.
I almost feel like they just shouldn't have done it at all at that point.
Yeah, like I'm not into big pop music, but I feel like some of the other songs would have been a better ending kind of credit song than the one we got.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Weird. But let's get to kind of the core of it, David. Like come on, David, let's go party. Like life is plastic and it's fantastic. But you know what? Like let's get a little deeper. We weren't huge fans of this film. And we mentioned because of the plot. Why is that, David? Does this have some kind of subtle undertone that we saw straight through? And we're like, oh, we see what you're doing, Greta and Noah. Rawr! Or is it, it's very obvious what this is about. Or is it what it's about? What is that, David?
Yeah, so this movie is very tonally confused. I think I say this with not total confidence, but I think it was supposed to have very feminist undertones, but it comes off in a very weird way. Um, you have, you know, the quote unquote villain of this film is, Ken and his, not grappling with his, you know,
His masculinity.
yeah, his lack of meaning in his life, grabs onto patriarchy and tries to, basically takes over Barbie world with patriarchy, and then the Barbie and America Ferrara and her really annoying daughter have to
You keep saying Ferrara. America Ferrara?
isn't that her
I'm
name?
pretty sure it could be tomato tomato, but I always thought it was America Ferrera. But that could be like the Disney kind of side of things.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I've always heard it pronounced Ferrara.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
hey,
Right.
who knows?
Who knows?
I that name has not rolled off my tongue in many a year. So if if I say it wrong, then forgive me. But anyway,
You're forgiven.
so Barbie and America Ferrera and her really annoying daughter and a couple of the the fringy discontinued Barbies have to band together to restore
Order.
restore the glorious order of feminism to Barbie land. And and the way they do it is by exposing the way they defeat patriarchy is by exposing the Barbies to the cognitive dissonance of being a woman in the real world. And
Yeah,
it's
I
just,
guess.
and so it seems like this movie was supposed to have like really like feminist overtones and be all about like, promoting women's liberation and all that. And it's just the way it comes off, it's like it doesn't come off as actually making feminism look good
Mm.
or making like female empowerment seem like, a just cause or anything. It's like the only character with a true emotional story arc that we as the audience can grab onto and sympathize with, um, is Ken. And
Uh-huh.
it certainly doesn't help that out of all the performances, Ryan Gosling's is head and shoulders
Oh,
above the
man.
rest.
He is just on cloud nine.
He's truly the star of this film.
He is so good in this movie. It for many factors. But like just he's Ryan Gosling first off. I think there's that aspect. He's got the Gosling factor, But just the way and the quirkiness of him is so out of this world that you can't not like it, I think. What I something I was going to say while you were saying that is I didn't go back at all and look at any reviews for any of these films we're going to talk about today. Barbenheimer. I didn't look into the limelight or any of the hype or anything. I did watch the trailer before we start recording just to kind of get an idea of how good this film actually looked, and it did look really good. Just as a person who likes trailers, like I'm like, man, this trailer's doing a really good job. Like, there's so much craziness in this trailer that how do I not want to go see that? Like, me personally speaking. But then we watched the ShoeOnHead video. I think that's the only thing pretty much from that era that we watched to like prepare for the podcast. And it's that's the perspective I'm coming from, and I think you're a little similar set as well, where we're coming from outside of the kind of cultural critique at that time, and now we're 3 years later, and I'm like, first time watching this movie, I'm like, and I knew about a bunch of the stuff like you as well did, about all the plot points and everything going into it. But actually seeing them on the screen, a lot of those people were right, but I feel like the hate that this film is earned is well earned, but I also feel like there's many likable aspects to it as well. Like I love, like we said, Ryan Gosling, even Margot Robbie, Will Ferrell as kind of weird and off-putting that I think his character is hilarious, as well as like weird Barbie and all these aspects that are incredibly likable. Simu Liu as one of the Kens and Alan, just all these weird kind of. The biggest thing that I'm trying to get to here, though, is when I was watching it, I'm like, there's something very strange about this movie. Like it's giving off a feeling of like uncertainty, and it's not about the feminism stuff at all. It's just when I was watching it, it was so over the top and like fake and plastic in quotes that I was like, man, I really want to see what happens when you get to the real world and these worlds clash. And I honestly don't think we saw a good representation of what could have happened.
Yeah, the problem with this film is like the comedic scenes are very well done.
I would say
I mean, they're not like the best ever,
yeah.
but it's very engaging.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah, there you go.
It draws you in with how bizarre and zany it is, and we definitely had some laugh out loud moments.
Dude, yeah.
So the more comedic aspects of this movie, some I think were unintentional, but overall the comedic aspects of this movie were really fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with a lot of the zanier parts of this movie. And then
It was like watching a live action cartoon, basically.
And then when we get to the parts of the movie that I'm guessing were supposed to be the emotional core of the film, it's just like there's nothing there.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's where I want to go next with this. Is you have all the feminism stuff, sure, and then arguably maybe the anti-feminism side of things that could be the actual message, but we're not going to go into that until after in a little bit. We'll get to that, don't worry. But the emotional core in this film, David, this is my biggest issue, like what you're getting at. It's my biggest issue with this movie. The feminism stuff aside, we get to the end of the film, and like, oh, it's all fixed. Yay, Barbie land saved from the patriarchy, which actually is really funny when you think about it. And then you get to this point where Barbie is still having this existential crisis. And every word that's said to her to get her to feel better, to help her find herself, to, I guess, discover her identity, or I guess even become human. I don't know what was going on, but every word that was said from the old lady to Barbie and to all the other people around her just felt so emotionally empty and void of any kind of heart that I was very confused as to what was even happening on the screen. Like, it just felt empty and didn't feel like it had a purpose. It felt like, oh, she still has existential crisis. We need to wrap this up. Okay, let's just rewrite some stuff and let's get it going. It felt like they really didn't know how to end this movie. And I feel like the core emotional crisis didn't really have any payoff at all.
Yeah, it seems like what was supposed to happen is Barbie was supposed to have this grand epiphany about the value of real life, even though it's not always perfect and shiny and happy and polished. And she kind of did, but it also wasn't earned.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would say too. Like, it's not earned at all. And I feel like what you said sounds great. Oh, it's her being a toy, but realizing the real world is where you want to be. But when they spend the entire movie of bogging down and criticizing the real world and what it is, and saying it doesn't matter, why would Barbie even want to go back to the real world? So that's like my big issue. like, I don't know what the point of all this was. Like, and then we get the ending scene, and I'm like, yeah, that's a funny bit, but like, what's the point of this? Like, you're not really selling me on the kind of the message you're kind of selling. Like, I'm not picking up what they're putting down.
Yeah, and it's for all the like, the complexity of, her supposed thoughts about Barbie land versus real life and all this and that. It's just like she spends the bulk of the movie trying to reimpose the fantasy female version of patriarchy onto a fake world.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then all of a sudden at the end, she's somehow above it all, and she's had this revelation about the value of, you know, the real. It's just like, what?
And it's funny, and the reason why we're, I think, so critical about this is because this movie spends the whole time talking about some deep topics and cultural topics that were mostly from, probably forums back in 2015 and 14 when this stuff was real hot
Yeah,
online.
the era of the bedroom feminist.
Yeah, like all the humor that we see in the it feels like a film, David. And ShoeOnHead kind of referred to this a little bit in her video. It feels like a film that was made with humor from the early aughts in the 2000s, but written in the 20 teens, but then released in 2023.
Yeah.
Like early 2000s film, written in 2013-ish or whenever. Who knows when this was written, but a film that feels like it was written in the 20 teens when the woke stuff was starting. And then like it comes out a decade later and it's like it's not relevant at all. Not really. And I feel like this film is they did a really good job, I think, with making this film marketable and having a lot of fun stuff in it. And that's why it's so dang entertaining. But it has very little emotional core, if not any, that doesn't really, I didn't personally buy it. And then it kind of has this overall message or a theme, I guess you could say, that's so deep, but the emotional core is so shallow that it's laughable. So they go super deep. Oh, maybe you could argue maybe they go deeper than what's shallow over here in the emotional state, but they go deep over here, but like barely surface level over here. And it's like, what the heck? Like I was expecting, that's right. Why the emotional core, I had more expectations because they put so much work into the other stuff, if you could call it work, I guess.
Yeah, and part of the problem too is like if I was to just simply take the shoe pill and
We'll
see
link that in the below. It's a hilarious commentary on this film.
and see this film as an homage to the joys of patriarchy. Even then, it's a little bittersweet because, you know, up until the very, very end, uh, Ken's emotional arc as a character is very satisfying. And then his final revelation that he needs to, figure out his identity, learn who he really is apart from Barbie, is delivered through Barbie preaching that at him. And it's incredibly insufferable.
Yeah, I feel like a better character, if you were to communicate this to Ken, would actually be America Ferrera's character. Because I think, yeah, have her do the whole feminism rant that she has toward the end of the film where she's, us women gotta rise up and this whole kind of theme. And then for some reason the Barbies come really poignant in language and they'll be like, yeah, this is this and this is the essence of this. It's like, whoa, okay, whoa, like I guess that makes sense. And then I think America Ferrera her character could have realized something saying, oh, that's right. Like us women don't just need women. We actually kind of do need men. And that's kind of my critique on the whole feminism message in this film, or at least what they were attempting to do with it, is I feel like it's almost as if they were trying to get to a point, David, but they just couldn't do it. It's almost as if the message could have been men and women have roles and they have places. and they each fill those wonderfully. But we just can't let go of what we believe in feminism, so we're not going to explore that. And so we're going to make a disingenuous kind of message to little girls about being a little girl in a man-run world, because that's what feminism has taught us.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's really it's very hard to take any kind of message away from this film because the tone of it is so confused. Like you mentioned earlier, they do broach some semi-deep topics, and then they don't really develop them any further. They don't question
Yeah,
them. They don't,
it's all
get to the
explored.
bottom of it.
Yeah.
They just kind of like toss them aside and okay, we gotta save Barbie land from men having a place in society.
Yeah, and it's like just saying, "Oh, well, we need feminism because it fixes the minds of women," is basically what America Ferrera or Ferrara's character is saying. But I
Well,
feel like
that's the thing too, is like I her sort of epiphany and rant that she has is it doesn't really mean anything.
yeah,
Like she basically just like she goes on this whole like her epiphany is that being a woman in the modern world requires this absurd degree of cognitive dissonance, and then we're somehow just supposed to feel okay about that somehow.
I feel like there could have been way more nuance they could have brought to the topic, but I feel like they didn't. I feel like they're either too dim, Noah and Greta, or they just are very intentional about not including anything like that because it's a Hollywood film. This is what they believe in. So like we're just going to include this cuz this is what we do. But I feel like even the deep topics are deep in quotes. I don't even think it's that deep. I don't think they even went like to the next level of what feminism is in this film. They just kind of like say a bunch of crap in one big scene. And you have the daughter character too, who kind of spouts all this stuff that's basically, talking pieces. And then it's like, okay, we got that out of the way. Now we got to figure out how to finish the film.
Yeah.
It's like, and honestly, I think a Barbie movie, when it takes the roles of men and women, it could have been really interesting. And that's why I was kind of interested in, not really the reason. I think the trailer was more like selling me on a fun idea, but finding out that it's all about, third wave feminism specifically and downtrodden men and having a utopia where they're the second class citizen. They have no voting rights is a perfect world. And we want to keep it that way. But arguably, like Shue mentioned in her video, when the women were under the patriarchy, it seemed like they were having a pretty good time,
Yeah.
even though like, there were servants and whatnot. I just think that you could have done something really fun with that idea of men and women in roles and how they fill it and how they don't. Like, you can have Barbie Land the way it is, and you could have had it gone wrong with Ken and his stuff. You could have had all that in there, but then you could have brought it somewhere in the middle, like the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And like, women do this, men do this. Like it would have been funny. Like President Barbie could have had a vice president Simu Liu Ken, for example, or what have you. Like, and also, why didn't they do the roles, David? Why didn't they jump into this? I'm kind of going overboard on this, but anyway, the last thing I'll say about this like rant here about them having the theme be roles of men and women is Ken and Barbie. They each have roles. There's a scientist Barbie. There's a lifeguard Ken. Like, that's what Barbie and Ken are. They're a bunch of jobs and everything. So I don't know. That's all I really have to say about that. I feel like they could have gone some cool places, but they kind of just, I don't know. They weren't too smart with all of it.
I don't know why, but you talking about roles for Ken made me think about a really cursed image I found. A listing for a Ken doll with vitiligo. I think that's how you pronounce that.
I don't even want to know, David.
Vitiligo.
No, don't explain what it is.
No,
No.
it's not bad.
Oh, okay.
It's I think that's how you pronounce it,
some
but
STD or something, or
the only person I've ever heard say it is Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks. So forgive me if I mispronounce it, but vitiligo is the disease that Michael Jackson had.
Oh,
Where his
a Ken doll with that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
there's a Ken doll with I'm sure there's a Barbie too, but what I specifically saw, was a Ken doll with vitiligo.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
man.
he's got like this
patches,
this tan,
Oh,
this gloriously tan skin with like patches of white all over.
oh
I'm gonna have to find that image and make you share in the curse as well.
Am I gonna have to put it in the thumbnail?
That might be the thing to do. You'll have to take a look at it and see if that's what you want to do.
Oh man. Well, speaking of Ken, let's talk about Ryan Gosling. So, David, we have this whole storyline of him discovering the patriarchy, which is hilarious, by the way. And then, like, he's going up this escalator, and there's a lot to it. But he sees policemen on horses, of all things. He sees men dapping each other up and giving fist bumps to each other and saying, "You're the man." It's like, wow, this is very on the nose, but okay. And then he asks for he does he sees all these things in the gym and stuff and Rocky. And then he's going up this escalator and he sees a giant billboard of Bill Clinton and then Ronald Reagan and the American Eagle and more horses. And then it has this hilarious montage of just men doing things. It's like that commercial, real men of business. Like that's what he saw for those 3 seconds or however long it was. And then that made him think, men rule the world, which was a really funny line.
And I love too that they that the soundtrack for that scene was the disco version of Also Sprach Zarathustra.
Oh, huh.
Which is the for those who don't know, that's the title of the piece that's in the beginning of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay, yeah. So I knew that little bit. I didn't know that was what it's called.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's by
awesome.
Wagner.
That's dope, man. Oh man, and when this happens, you're like, oh no, I think I know where this is going. And then you see it happen, and I think it's a really funny storyline. And Ryan Gosling's performance is just hilarious, to say the least. But I don't know, like David, what is your overall thoughts on Ken and why he's the emotional core of this film?
He's
the unintentional emotional core of this film.
I mean, he's like the classic protagonist, you know? He's just a
down on his luck, the
everyday schlub. Down in his luck. He's
looking for affirmation.
He's unhappy. He's clearly in love with Barbie, and she just won't give him the time of day, and he doesn't really have a purpose in life other than, moments of happiness when she gives him a little sliver of attention, and it's just like he goes through a crisis and he learns to he grows as a result of it, and he comes to an epiphany about himself, about what his purpose in life is. It's very emotionally satisfying, other than the very end where he gets preached at by Barbie, but like that's just good storytelling. And like it's just kind of, he's weird. It's kind of weird that he's supposed to be the villain, but he's like the only character who you really feel sympathetic for, because like Barbie's just like fake and naive through most of it, and then she has all these epiphanies and emotional scenes at the end that are just not earned in any way whatsoever. So I think what it is the contrast between his arc and everybody else's, because like he has like the classic protagonist arc up until a certain point in the movie, and everybody else just has nothing or almost nothing. And so it just really like it like clearly puts him center stage as like the star of the film.
Yeah, I think that this film is very disjointed in general, so that when you do get the whole sequence of "I'm just Ken," it comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, "What the heck?" But it's very likable. It's very,
It was
very
entertaining for like
bashful.
the first half of it.
Yeah, and then the
And
dance
then
sequence, and then it keeps going.
yeah, and then after a certain point it's like I don't even know what's going on
Yeah,
anymore.
what is happening in this movie? It's entertaining, but you're like, what's happening? Kind of like with the plot. But like Ryan Gosling again, fantastic in this role. If not a little overboard, for sure. But it just makes it even better.
I like the range that he has though. It's really funny that he did both this and he played a replicant in Blade Runner 20
Yeah.
whatever it was called,
Yeah,
48.
2049. Yeah.
Was it
2049.
2049? That's what it
Yeah.
was. I always forget what the number is. It's Blade Runner 20 something or other.
2077.
But yeah, he's playing this like really just like he's playing a replicant with zero emotion and that
Oh, I thought you meant Ken for a second. Okay.
no
Never mind.
in Blade Runner, and then in this movie he's like way over the top and he's just like giving it his all, and he's basically the emotional hook of the film. It's just so bizarre to see that he has such a range. He's not really known as like, at least not from my understanding, he's not really known as like the serious actor of actors, and yet he's definitely talented.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's definitely even a song and dance man. I mean, I was talking to you when we were watching this. I'm like, hey, what if they? My pitch is Tom Holland and David Cornswell. What if they had Ryan Gosling and Tom Holland, for example, or some other guy who's classically trained in that way? Maybe not classically trained, but he's trained in the way of the song and dance. And you give us an old timey movie, David. An old movie that's paying homage to those song and dance films, those Cosby and Hope flicks where they're two friends on a journey and then they sing and then they tap dance randomly, or Brigadoon where it's these two hunters that are going out through they find Brigadoon and for some reason while they were hunting they have tap shoes on and they start doing tap dancing. Like, let's get another movie out there that pays homage to the old Hollywood classics, David. We get Ryan Gosling as the villain maybe, and then Tom Holland and David Cornswell as the song and dance men, and then who knows who could direct it? Maybe Christopher Nolan. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he is super, super talented. And I remember when me and Angie went to go see Blade Runner 2049 when it came out, I was like, gosh, dang, dude, like how I really hope he gets a like Academy nom because he was so good in that movie. And I don't think he did. But it's funny because he won. I'm gonna look that up. Did he win Best Actor for Ken? Because he got nominated. I know that.
I mean, if he didn't, then I don't. I can't see. There really wasn't much else that year that I think would have competed with his performance.
So he did get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Okay. But let's see. I don't know if he won or not. He did probably, had a couple things. I need to do more digging here, but I remember him performing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars, and that was actually really funny. Especially not seeing the film itself at that time. But you know what? You also had the funny little bits, like him yelling, "Sublime!" And like, remember? And then he puts on the sunglasses, and then he puts on another pair.
Yeah.
And this film felt like, hey, let's do what the Lego movie did, but live action. Because also Will Ferrell's here for some reason.
Yeah.
As the same dang character.
That he always plays in every movie. Yeah, he's basically the I can feel it in my plums guy.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, kind of, yeah.
just
Um,
in a different
just
context.
yeah.
But like the delivery, the energy is exactly the same.
Yeah, it was nice to see like his energy level in this film versus some of the other more recent stuff I'm seeing him in. Let me go through my notes real quick, David, to see if we want to cover anything else. Do we want to go back to the whole feminism thing and how Noah and Greta are playing 3D chess or not? Like, what's the point of this poll? Like, what's the message that they're trying to say? Like, men are worse than women. They show they have no rights to be rulers of the world. Women rule the world. Like Rihanna. Like, I don't know. Or sorry, Beyonce.
Yeah, I don't know.
What are they doing? What's the goal of this, David?
Yeah, that's the thing is I can only surmise that the goal must have been to push some kind of like heavy bedroom feminist message, like, circa 2014 or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but because I feel like that was kind of like the zenith of third wave feminism, at least in popular culture. Um, and it's just like, so maybe I can only imagine that that was the goal, is to push that kind of message that women are oppressed and they need to be, taught how powerful and how amazing and wonderful that they are so they can throw off the shackles of the patriarchy. But it doesn't really send that message. It
It doesn't commit.
it sort of like it sort of vacillates between like zany slapstick comedy and nothing.
Yeah, it's funny because the whole plot kicks off because this mom is depressed, and so she tries to find some kind of happiness in her life that she feels is out of control. And so she goes back and plays with her Barbies again, or one Barbie from her daughter. And then that's why Barbie feels an existential crisis. And then it's like, but what what else? Like, we're just supposed to roll with this? Like, this isn't the Lego movie where we find out, oh, it's just a kid playing with Legos, which makes perfect sense of why this movie is the way it is. It's brilliant, actually. But this movie isn't that at all.
Yeah,
It like half commits to some of it, but not really. And it has like these elements that could be cool, but it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't commit to it.
yeah, the physics of the Barbie universe don't work very well.
It makes zero sense, which I don't think it was supposed to. But I feel like
In a
with
movie,
other films like a aforementioned Lego movie, I feel like there's some opportunity here. Like the bar has been set. Like you got to do something.
yeah, and see that's the thing. People always the defense whenever you say a movie doesn't make sense. The defense is always that, oh, it's fantasy. You think fantasy has to be 100% realistic all the time? And it's like, no. But
Yeah, yeah.
like the world of the film has to,
It has its own rules.
yeah, it has to follow its own rules. There has to be some kind of internal logic that makes the world of the film work in some sense so that the audience can do that whole suspension of disbelief and get drawn into the world of the film. Without that, it creates a barrier for audience engagement.
Yeah.
And in a movie as confused as this, that's one more layer of just confusion that just shuts out any possibility of emotionally connecting with the characters at all.
I feel like the element of her playing with the Barbie was like it could have been like maybe in a past script like, "Oh, hey, this is like basically what the Lego movie was." And I feel like maybe they wanted to I feel like maybe there was more to that, but they said, "Well, we don't want to be like just the Lego movie again, so we got to be different." So Greta's got the feminism thing. Let's throw that in there and just have it be about that. But then like it has its own rules it's set up about these Barbies being played with, but then it doesn't really revisit it at all. It's just this is what causes it, but there's no revisit to that concept to fix the same issue.
Exactly.
And then you get this whole aspect of Barbie wanting to be human. And then she does, but it's not communicated to us why she desires. It's the same thing that Ken had. But Ken found his role. He realized, oh, hey, I am just Ken. And that's enough. Literally, that's his whole arc in the film. But with Barbie, she's never enough. She never can be so perfect. So she decides to go to an imperfect world and become an imperfect woman to feel real, I guess. I don't know. I still don't understand why that all happened.
Yeah, and also the idea that like somehow going to the real world makes her human. Like it doesn't make any sense. And like
And she had a
and we
terrible time when she went there, so why would she even want to go back?
and we learn all this through the ghost of Ruth Handler, the inventor of Barbie, who the CEO of Mattel just casually confirms that her ghost inhabits one of the offices. It's like, what's going on
Yeah,
here?
what is this?
Like it's very clearly signaled in the movie that there's a fundamental change by choosing to go live in the real world. She truly becomes human, because what does she do at the end? She visits
yeah,
the
yeah.
gynecologist.
Yeah.
So there's clearly a biological change that happens, and she becomes a real biological woman somehow.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like, oh, hey, give us a whole spreadsheet scientifically of what's happening biologically when she crosses from the Barbie land to the real world. That's not what we're asking. We're asking, movie, establish like the rules you want to follow and then stick to them. Don't keep adding new things as we go along and just assuming that we'll be okay with it. Again, the Lego movie proved that you could do this really, really well by actually establishing it as the third act of the film and being like, oh, that's why it's written this way. That's why the characters are so zany and crazy and kooky and it's like a little kid wrote it. It's exactly why. Because a
Mhm.
little kid wrote it.
Yeah.
Like, it makes so much sense, but I feel like again, this film kind of struggles with its own identity,
And
which
the
is hilarious, actually.
motivations of the motivations of the characters and like their role within the story is just so nonsensical. Like Will Ferrell is like,
He's like a pseudo bad guy, kind of.
yeah, he's well aware of the possibility of Barbie's crossing from Barbie land to the real world, and he's got like
Yeah.
measures in place to deal with it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, go back in the box. And we don't see what the box does. It's just assumed.
And also too, he's like, his motivations are like, he's so desperate to return things back to the way they were, even though the changes that Ken is making to Barbie Land is making him fantastically wealthy. But he's also not like a genuine feminist either way. Like in the scene where he talks to Barbie, and he like responds with fake outrage to her uh questions about why there's no why there's no women running the company or anything. He like reacts with fake outrage. He's like, how dare you, this company is built on women and blah blah blah. So he totally comes off as
He
like,
gaslights Barbie.
yeah, he gaslights Barbie. He totally comes off as totally fake. He is in it for himself. He's in it for the money. He doesn't care about empowering women at all. And yet he's so desperate to throw away this fantastic money-making opportunity to somehow return Barbie World to the status quo. He has this vested interest in returning Barbie Land to the status quo, and we have no glimmer, there's nothing in the film that gives us a reason why that ought to be.
I have an idea if they did go to kind of my pitch for it, where like, oh, like, yeah, it was one way, and then the Kens took it the like polar opposite. But the idea of them ending in the middle would have been better because you could have had even a joke about Kelly coming in. Like, I think she's supposed to be Barbie's daughter or whatever, but have her be like a teenager come in, and then Alan's like, "Oh, hi." And then there's a joke about like, "Oh, hey, like you want to go on a date or something?" Like, you could have done something like that, bring more nuance to the world and
No, I don't
add
think it
more
was.
things.
I don't
And
think Kelly's Barbie's daughter. I think Kelly's Barbie's little sister.
oh, then that's even better, you know?
Because the idea of Barbie being a mom is
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
totally anathema in
Totally
this film
anathema.
world. And also, oddly enough, to the actual physical Barbie product itself, too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I feel like it had the Birkenstock and the high heel. And I feel like they were trying to say something with introducing these elements, but they don't ever really fully commit to it besides spouting, like you said, bedroom feminism at
Yeah, they
points.
talk about these
Yeah,
ideas
they
and then
talk
they
about
just
them.
kind of discard them.
And
And
it sucks because there's the whole rant from America Ferrera is just a plot dump. Literally. Like, hey, this is what it's about. And it's like, really? Like, there's nothing else? That's all we're gonna talk about and focus on? Like, there's nothing else. I don't know why I expected more from a Barbie movie, but I guess I did. Um, let's talk about Ken real quick, David. Is there some gay codedness to all this tomfoolery and put your manly hand in mine, or is it just supposed to be funny?
I think it's just supposed to be funny. I think it's supposed I think it's just,
I think it's enough.
it's the theateriness of it all, which, theater coded, I think
Oh, theater coded. Yeah, there you go.
theater coded I think can also mean gay coded, but they're related, but they're not quite the same thing.
Yeah. What about the Ken mass migration, David? Why
The
didn't they?
Ken mass
Yeah, why didn't
migration.
they cover that in the movie? They're taking over, man.
Oh man.
Now there is a thing as I was watching. I'm like, oh, this could be just like an allegory for boys and girls. They're fighting. How do we resolve these issues? And then the solution they give is like, oh, okay, that's not very compelling, but okay. And then what else do I have in my notes here? Not a whole lot. Oh, the stupid character change of the daughter when they were trying to go back to the real world and America Ferrera and her daughter were in the car. And then she has an epiphany for no reason at all. She's like, "We got to go back, Mom. We got to save Barbie. We got to save Barbie Land." And it's like, why? You've been nothing but downtrodden of everyone in this film because you're a selfish little asshole teenage daughter, and you have no heart for anybody. But now, because Alan decides to fight for you to save your life, supposedly that's reason for a change of heart. This makes no sense. And I think that was, to me, that and the plot dump from America Ferrera, the two sins in the script that they committed. The plot dump, which is just total exposition spouting scene, and then you have this random character change, which literally is never ever addressed later. Maybe through one line between the mom and daughter, maybe, if I'm remembering correctly. But other than that, no reason. And it's just to keep the plot going.
And there's no real payoff to it either because like the mom and her daughter they don't make up.
Yeah, there's no
They don't
reconciliation.
they don't like
There's no,
become
hey, mom, I was wrong. Or
yeah,
I've grown
they
up.
don't they don't become closer as a result.
Yeah.
We don't see like this like tender moment. Oh, it's like I love you, daughter. Oh, I love you, mom. Like that would have at least been some kind of emotional payoff. We don't get any of that.
Yeah, and
She's just like a retarded, annoying bitch. And then she suddenly has a heart.
yeah, it's like, oh wow, okay, huh. I feel like again, like these are opportunities where you can really have a really deep emotional payoff and development in this film. But it just doesn't go there. It feels lazy. Like that's what it feels like to me after kind of dissecting it. But I don't know, maybe I'm just Monday morning quarterback in this thing. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's
there's
33 years later.
yeah, there's no lessons for Greta and crew to have learned from this film because it made them fantastically wealthy.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh, and also, this is a great point that actually Shoe brought up in her video. It's like the concept of this film at points is like, oh wow, you're so hot, but you can't be smart as well. You have to be one or the other.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
the
it's like,
whole
oh, I'm so ugly. But it's like, what? You're not ugly at all. Like the whole thing is like kind of, it's a stereotype
yeah, the
in
part where
script writing.
scientist Barbie is like, "Oh my God, what am I wearing? I would never wear this." It's like scientists can't wear attractive clothing? Is that what we're
You
going
can't have
with?
a life outside of being a scientist if we're actually like gonna adhere to the rules of this world, which actually there are no rules to this world. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, none of it makes sense.
I wrote David a quote that just says, "What the f is this?" from you, but I can't remember what part of the film that was.
Oh, I think it was at the end of the movie. It was the like this the weird
Oh, the
song.
oh the song.
The like the weird song
Oh, the
where
song in the credits.
yeah, where it like leads into the credits where it's like it like shows like it's like the weird montage of like moms and daughters.
Oh yeah, what the heck was that, dude? Like, what was that? It's like, oh, it's again, if this was the mom and daughter plot, that makes total sense. But there was no development, no reconciliation, no payoff, like you were saying. This makes literally no sense. And there's no mother and daughter connection between Ruth and Barbie because we never establish a mother and daughter connection because these two characters hate each other's asses. That's
Yeah,
all I gotta
it's
say.
just like yeah, that whole montage could have been replaced with some kind of scene where America Ferrera and her daughter like reconcile and become
Hmm.
closer together as a family as a result of it.
Maybe that's the plot of the sequel, Barbie 2, David.
Barbie 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo and Ken actually, because of his arc, he decides, you know what, Alan? I need to find you your Barbie. And so that's the subplot there.
Or what if the subplot is that Alan's actually gay?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That'll be great.
Alan's actually gay and Ken has to help find.
Oh no. Oh man. Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because if they made a sequel to this movie, 99% chance it's going to be something really retarded like that.
I'm really intrigued to see because Greta's next film is going to be Narnia, in theaters later this year, which is supposed to be The Magician's Nephew. If that is a miserable failure, David, I think they're going to greenlight a sequel to Barbie 2, and she's going to run back to Warner Brothers. And Margot Robbie's even said, like, I'm always down for a sequel, and she's talked about it in interviews, like, I just don't know what the story would be, and blah blah blah. Like, we could do one, but we don't know. I think it's mostly like Greta's busy, even though Margot Robbie was the head of like, she chose actually Greta to direct it. Like Margot Robbie chose her to do it, and I feel like Warner Brothers is like, yeah, we'll keep this relationship going, but it's up to her what she's got to do. I feel like they can even do without her, but she was so core to this, as we'll find out here in the trivia in just a second. But if Magician's Nephew is a miserable failure, man, and it's another spat on the history of Chronicles of Narnia, she's gonna go get Warner Barbie too, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to that before, and now that I've actually seen this movie, I'm doubly not looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's no epic fantasy experience that I've experienced from her, or pretty much, I think this is actually the only film I've experienced from her. But stuff like Lady Bird and Little Women and was it Booksmart? It could have been that. But those films, I'm like, you're gonna have her do an epic fantasy because she's British?
Yeah, that
Well,
makes
that makes
no
no
sense.
sense. Like, and I know she said in interviews like she wants to honor like the legacy of C.S. Lewis, but I I really don't believe that. You're gonna have to show it to me first.
Yeah, that's
That makes no
like
sense.
yeah, the likes of her being admiring C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, well,
What?
if Diggory has a musical scene though, 10 out of 10 movie. Let's be real. Okay, hey, let's move on. All right, IMDb trivia. Let's get into the trivia, David. Man, we went long on that. Dang. So just preface for those uninitiated with the Two Films podcast. This is just IMDb trivia. We go and we explore some other places on the internet as well, but we want to put an asterisk here because, well, go ahead and take the blue pill, or excuse me, go ahead and take the black pill or the salt pill. Yeah, take the salt pill because some of these might not be true. Just saying. They're unverified. But it's what we found online. So here we go. First one I got here is this, David. This marks the first time Barbie appears in a theatrical live-action feature film as opposed to her animated appearances in direct-to-video films and television specials. But this does not include the 2 animated films of Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, which are from Disney and Pixar and only used, Barbie that is, by permission from Mattel. In fact, Barbie was going to be in Toy Story 1 as the love interest for Woody instead of Bo Peep. But they couldn't get the rights to Mattel and Mattel wouldn't approve it, so they went with the Bo Peep character.
Interesting.
I like that because I've been rewatching all the Toy Story films to get ready for 5, which is still in theaters at this point, which I do want to go see. So I've been rewatching them, so they've been on my mind. But I thought that was cool. I'm like, oh, it was going to be a Barbie. But yeah, okay. All right. All right, next up. This is kind of the history of this film, of how it got made. Originally announced in 2009, this project has undergone multiple iterations and has been overseen by 3 different studios. Oh my God. Originally, it was a Universal Pictures production, but after 5 years of development, Sony Pictures took over in 2014. Jenny Bix was hired as a screenwriter, but replaced by Diablo Cody. Man, what a name. These people can't be real. The following year. In December 2016, oh boy, David, Amy Schumer entered negotiations to star in the title role, as well as rewrite the screenplay. Schumer exited the project in 2017, where it was announced that somebody else was going to direct, and basically Sony's option expired in 2018, and the project transferred to Warner Brothers Pictures, where the project finally made progress and released in 2023. Wow, I guess they couldn't figure out what to do, and I think they never found out what to do with it.
Yeah, what a long, complicated history, only to end up this stinker of a movie.
It reminds me of the Masters of the Universe film, because that has been in, I think, offhand at different studios for a long ass time. And then it finally came out, and I personally thought it was cool, but just the people don't want to watch a live interpretation of an old 80s movie or old 80s series.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with that is again, its success was not. I haven't seen Master of the Universe, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. So it seems to me that the lack of success of Master of the Universe was not due to its lack of quality as a film, but mostly due to lack of audience interest in He-Man as a property. Because for films like that to do really well, you kind of have to capture a younger audience, and He-Man is pretty much only loved by boomers at this point.
Yeah, Gen X, but yeah, that's about it. There's a really interesting contrast you could pick between these 2 films. Barbie being the super feminist icon, but Master of the Universe actually dives into some, I think we talked about this on a prior podcast, but when I went to go see it, I was really impressed by the examples of, in quotes, positive masculinity that film kind of portrayed. And there's some really cool stuff. Go ahead and listen to the episode White Pilled, A New Hope, episode of the Snarp Fangle Podcast, if you're interested or savvy. Speaking of savvy, or not, Gal Gadot was considered to play Barbie, but she was unavailable. Margot Robbie, who until then had only been attached as a producer, was then asked to play Barbie herself, and reluctantly accepted as long as there would be a this is, I think, editorializing. As long as there would be a diverse group of Barbies in the movie. I think it was just like, do I want to do this? Sure, but give me a cut of the film, which she did end up getting. In addition to being a parody homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey, the opening 3 shots of the film use untouched footage from 2001, with the 4th digitally altered to replace a skull with a girl's shoe. That's awesome. Here's the thing I was talking about earlier. Barbie is 23% larger than everything in Barbie Land to mimic the awkward, disproportionate scale that real Barbies and the sets are produced in. This is why Barbie sometimes appears too large for things like her car or why ceilings seem to be too low in the dream houses. I would also say stuff like the brush and the toothbrush and that kind of thing. All right, next up. Ryan Gosling improvised the word sublime, as well as the shot where he is wearing 2 sunglasses. That's pretty cool. Next up. This is the origin of I'm Just Ken. Composer Mark Ronson wrote the song I'm Just Ken largely as a joke and recorded a demo for Greta Gerwig, not seriously expecting it to be included on the soundtrack. However, she liked the song, and when she shared it with Ryan Gosling, he felt so strongly that it added to the character of Ken, he successfully advocated for it to be made a musical number in the film. Ronson remarked that he was amazed how much Gosling's interpretation of the song improved upon his original intent.
Yeah, Mark Ronson, he knows how to put out some bangers.
Yeah. Are you saying that seriously, or?
I mean, no, I actually am saying that seriously. Like, this style of music is not my particular favorite, but his songs are oddly catchy, even though it's not my style of music. Like, I'm Just Ken is not my style at all, but it's a very catchy song. I see why it's become, I can see why it's become such a hit. And then his really big hit that he co-wrote with, I can't remember who it was, but the Uptown Funk.
Oh, Bruno Mars?
Yes. That one also not my cup of tea.
Oh, he wrote that with Bruno.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, also not my cup of tea, but very, very catchy song.
Yeah, it's a banger, man.
It's I sometimes find if I hear it in like a grocery store or something, find myself toe tapping a bit to it. I'm like, no, stop! What are you doing?
Have some dignity. All right, next up. Margot Robbie, who plays Barbie, previously portrayed actress Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The iconic Malibu Barbie was actually inspired by Sharon's character in the movie Don't Make Waves. Interesting. Margot Robbie had 2 requests for director Greta Gerwig. Number one, she wanted a slide for Barbie's dream house, and then she wanted a mermaid Barbie to be featured in the movie somehow. All right, she got it. All right, next up, the 4th movie. This Barbie is the 4th movie directed by a woman to gross $1 billion. After Frozen, Captain Marvel, and Frozen 2. This is a quote from Greta herself. She says this: I felt that it was really important that we criticize Barbie very articulately from a character who has a very legitimate point of view. She said this, referring to the character as known as Sasha, played by Ariana Greenblatt, who came in, auditioned, and immediately intimidated both Gerwig and Robbie. This is the daughter character.
See, this is where I'm starting to think.
Yep.
This was all the like weird undertones of, hey, maybe patriarchy ain't so bad, was not intentional, because the way she describes the character is so contrary to reality. Like, criticizing Barbie in an articulate way?
You mean the exposition dump that the mom character does? Or the daughter saying that she's a fascist?
Yeah, I think she's referring to the lunchroom scene.
Articulately?
Yeah. So spouting retarded crap that's been debunked many, many times and just doing it a really angry way and calling someone a mean name that has become so watered down as to become basically meaningless. That's articulate criticism. These people are not serious people.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Let's see. Next up, Michael Cera said his casting as Alan was very last minute, in quotes, explaining, I somehow got Greta's email address, I think through a common friend of ours, and I emailed her like, can I be in it? Can I do the part? Greta immediately responded to Michael's request and hopped on a Zoom call with the actor, and he was then cast as Alan. I think that's pretty funny.
Okay.
The Ken working sign was originally a standard men working sign, but Michael Cera suggested they changed it to the pun. Good call. The production was unable to attain the rights to the classic version of Aqua's huge hit Barbie Girl, and thus a new version by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice was used instead. Ugh.
And what a version it is.
It's a song. Per Greta Gerwig's instructions, all of the Ken actors trained and worked out in the same gym every morning to establish and maintain their bond and competitiveness.
Which is really funny.
That's awesome.
That she did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the goal was to introduce articulate feminist critique of of Barbie, and then also you're gonna have like this, like you're gonna have the male actors like work out and just like bond in over their masculinity as well. It's like, what?
Just wait till you hear this next one, David. Gloria's big speech to Barbie about what it means to be a woman in this world left many of the women on set, when filming, crying, and some of the men emotional. Yeah, sure, whatever.
I mean, it is Hollywood.
Yeah, it is Hollywood.
It's saturated with those types.
Next one up here. When director Greta Gerwig took on the film, she insisted on certain bonding experiences, including a cast slumber party and, in quotes, movie church. All of the Barbies were invited to stay the night at a London hotel, and the Kens were allowed to stop by, but not stay. Ryan Gosling apparently couldn't make it, but didn't want his absence to go unnoticed, so he sent a singing telegram in the form of a Scotsman dressed in a kilt, playing the bagpipes and reciting lines from Braveheart. And then every Sunday, apparently, again, this is IMDb trivia, the entire cast gathered in the Electric Cinema in Notting Hill, where they watched movies relevant to the Barbie storyline, also known as Movie Church. Man, talk about religion. During production, Cootie Gatway, artist Ken, found out that he had landed the role of the 15th Doctor in Doctor Who, David. That guy. However, he couldn't tell anyone until it was officially announced. When the news broke about Gatwig's casting as the Doctor, Ryan Gosling, who is a massive fan of the show, immediately went to Gatwa's trailer once he found out to tell him that he was a big fan of the series and that, in quotes, Doctor Who is the coolest show in the world. And then, yeah, he found out and he was very happy. He then posted a shirt on Instagram that before the show was even filming him as the Doctor, where he had an artist kind of draw an interpretation of him as the Doctor. He posted on Instagram, and then BBC jokingly said that's illegal merchandising. All right, next one up. We're almost done, David. Don't worry. In June 2023, a French Barbie poster went... Okay, this is crazy. A French Barbie poster went viral for a surprising reason. The tagline, "She can do everything. He's just Ken," was translated to French as a phrase I'm not going to try to even pronounce, but it sounds similar to another phrase. And that phrase is slang for, instead of "he's just Ken" in French, when you say it out loud, it sounds like he only knows how to F.
Oh my God.
The studio neither confirmed nor denied that this was intentional. All right. Next one. When Ryan Gosling was first sent a copy of the script, it was titled Barbie and Ken, with "and Ken" crossed out. Sure. All right, last one. For the role, this is pure Ryan Gosling right here. For the role of Ken, Ryan Gosling drew influence from his time on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club in 1989. He says here, at a certain point, I thought I had left that kid behind, Gosling said, and I realized that I needed his help to make this movie. So I had to go back and make peace with him and ask him for his help. It was good for me to do it.
Okay.
I do think that's hilarious, though, that he's just great. Like, he's just awesome, man. I love Mr. Gosling. But I didn't love this movie, David.
No.
It is a very fun, entertaining, engaging film that has very has no to very little emotional core, and it can't commit to rules. And I just think it's not all that great. And I don't understand why it got a billion. Well, I do understand why, but I feel like it
It didn't deserve
it
it.
didn't deserve it. Like
It did not deserve its success.
it's not a good film, I think. It's entertaining though.
Yeah, it was a fun watch.
Yeah, thus our Ice Age films.
But it was a fun watch, but it was a seriously flawed film. And I yeah.
It felt like watching a Minions movie, which I've actually never seen in anyone. But if I were to imagine what a Minions film was, it'd be Barbie. Imagine the Minions, David, but it's about unionization. That'd be awesome, actually. Like the whole plot of Despicable Me 5 is them unionizing, them wanting rights. And then Gru has to figure this out.
I feel like that, because I've seen, I think, the first Minions movie, or no. I think I've seen the first Minions movie at some point. And given how those films are, from what I've seen of them, I feel like if they did that, it would turn out very similar to this film.
I think that's a funny idea because, like, imagine they go work for another villain. Like, they slowly start getting, like, hired by a different villain because he has better wages and benefits and more bananas, in quotes. Like, that could be kind of a fun idea. But I don't know if you heard this, but the last Minions movie is the least, like, had the least amount of, made the least amount of money compared to all the Despicable Me franchise openings.
Interesting.
And it had a 5-day weekend with the 4th of July weekend. Or 4-day weekend. But just counting even counting that 4-day weekend, it still failed to make as much as the other ones. It's the lowest opening of any Minions film or Despicable Me film.
Good.
The kids are tired of the yellow.
Yeah, let that franchise die.
Burn. Or blow it up with a nuke. Like our next film we're talking about here, David. Well, David, I don't know about you, but my eyes see Oppenheimer. All right, Oppenheimer. This is what it's about. We follow the real-life story of Robert J. Oppenheimer, the creator of the atomic bomb, his successes and failures in his life, as we follow the triumph of nuclear fission and the tragedy of a world forever changed after this grand scientific discovery, along with the weight of becoming the modern Prometheus. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Written by Christopher Nolan. Based on the book by Kai Bird and Martin Sherwin. Starring. All right, let me get a deep breath because there's a lot of people in this film. All right, you ready, David? He's nodding. We have Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Alden Ehrenreich, Benny Safdie, Matthew Modine, David Dashmalchian. Yeah, sure. Kenneth Branagh, Jack Quaid, Josh Peck, Jason Clarke, Rami Malek, Dane DeHaan, Casey Affleck, Gary Oldman, David Krumholtz, and Matt Damon.
To pay you back for earlier, I'm going to tell you, I think you're mispronouncing. I'm like 90% sure you're mispronouncing the name of the lead actor. It's Cillian Murphy.
With a budget of $100 million and a box office of a very, very successful $974 million. With a runtime of 3 hours, released in the year of the Barbenheimer extravaganza of 2023. David, what are our thoughts on Oppenheimer?
Now, this was a really good film. I enjoyed it. Maybe not my favorite Nolan film, and it did. I feel like he was a little up his own butt in this, making this movie. Just yeah, it's a little on the pretentious side, a little a little too there's just he tried to put so much into it just for the sake of putting it into it, and it's like I don't know if that was the way to go, but overall I think it's still a very enjoyable movie. The performances are all great. The camera work is great. The just everything looks so like everything just looks so good in this movie. And like the dialogue is compelling. The story, like it keeps you interested. I won't say the pacing is all that great because you definitely feel the runtime, but the dialogue and the story are still really good. They're still really engaging. Um,
Dialogue that's engaging? Really? In a movie? In a summer blockbuster, David? What? I will say that it's so interesting how when you sit down and watch this film, it's almost like the most action set piece parts of this film is the dialogue. And I think that kind of goes to show the quality of Christopher Nolan's writing. I think there are plenty of issues with the fact that like you said, he's kind of up his own ass in this film. He's up his own booty. But thus are all of his films in a certain way. I would agree.
yeah,
I would argue that.
I mean, yes.
Especially Tenet. Like, I don't think you've seen it, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God. That film is like, if you were going to say, man, Christopher Nolan, man, he's up his own ass and it's dark in there. Well, so is the audio quality of Tenet because the audio mixing's bad. The editing is nightmarish. The movie makes literally no sense unless you watch it about 3 to 5 times. And then there's other great aspects like the music, the performances, the practical effects, the other editing aspects of the film. Technically, an amazing movie. But thus also is Oppenheimer, but it has none of the bad qualities, I think, of that. Well, at least it has the same kind of Nolan tendencies, but they're brought down here. And they're actually used to, I would argue, to the advantage of this movie. It kind of like Dunkirk. I don't know if you got to see Dunkirk at all, but it does a similar thing. And that's where I would compare this film to, is it's this real life event or this interpretation of a real life event. And it's told in a really unique way that doesn't immediately make sense, but it does as the film goes on and slowly unravels. And with this film, it has a similar structure where you have these things you're introduced to. You have a conversation early in the film that's then finally told from the perspective we've been waiting to hear what happened at, and that's how the film ends. It has a good resolve and callback. It's just convoluted would be my biggest issue with the film. It is convoluted. However, I feel like if you've watched any other Nolan film, you're going to get a good handle on this movie. Like, especially if you've watched like Inception or Interstellar or Prestige or what have you. Again, I agree with you. This isn't my favorite Nolan film, but watching this for the first time out of theaters since I saw it 3 years ago, I think it actually got better for me. And I think it holds up, not holds up 3 years ago. Of course it holds up well. I think that I like it even better this time around. The biggest standout for me and my favorite aspect of this film is the relationships between the characters. It's so cool because you have the Strauss character from Robert Downey Jr., played by Robert Downey Jr., RDJ. And then you have, of course, Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer, his wife, Florence Pugh, his mistress, them hot commie babes, man, that they're just all over him, man, which we can get into later. But you have that in this stacked cast of pretty much almost everyone Nolan's worked with coming back to this film. And then you have newcomers like Matt Damon. No, never mind. Matt Damon was in Interstellar. But you have all these actors, man. David Krumholtz, dude. You got Bernard from the Santa Claus. You got Mr. Numbers himself, if you remember that show. Everybody gives such a great performance in this film, and I feel like it's so easy to overlook that. But I don't want to keep waxing poetic about this film. I want to hear more about your kind of interpretations and your viewpoints, David. Like, what did you specifically think of like the story of Oppenheimer and how it unfolded and his character himself?
Yeah, I think the story was very well told. It was very slow in the beginning. I
Oh
was
man,
like,
very, very slow.
it was a little bit painful to sit through in the very beginning, but once the story started rolling, it was better, and it unfolded in a very interesting way, where it was kind of like you were seeing these sort of closed door hearings take place, and then you're seeing this Senate hearing take place, and then you have all these um the events of Oppenheimer's life, from joining Project Manhattan to building the bomb and all of that, sort of woven in between those. It's a very cool structure, and it's just cool how things that it almost seems like it's kind of random at first, and then all of a sudden these sort of connections start to form, like with there's the cool towards the end when it's revealed that uh Strauss is kind of like the architect of this whole thing, and he's doing this because he just has this like personal vendetta against Oppenheimer. Um it's just really cool how that kind of reveal happens. And it's almost not even really like a reveal in a normal movie.
Hmm.
It's because there's no like dun 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 kind of like there's nothing in the way it's shot or anything, the music or anything like that to clue you in that here's the big reveal of the mystery of why this has all been happening. It kind of happens, but then you have this like epiphany in your brain, and you start to see all the different threads that have been slowly coming together throughout the whole length of the movie. It's very cool.
Yeah, it like you said, it's almost like it's not even the way the reveal happens. It's like a slow peeling of behind the curtain. Like the curtain is slowly unveiling itself, and you get to see how it all connects. And that's why I would compare it to Dunkirk, because in Dunkirk there's three storylines that are running parallel with each other. But one started like halfway through the film, one's at the beginning of the film, and one's like toward the end. Like you have the air, the sea, and the land. Like what's happening on the beach of Dunkirk, what's happening in the airplane with Mr. Bain. Can't remember his name. What's the actors? Tom Hardy. You have Tom Hardy's character in the air. You have Cillian Murphy in the boat with the other people.
Killian Murphy.
Okay, fine. Cillian Murphy. And then you have the Dunkirk with the soldiers. And all of those unveil like perfectly at the end. I haven't seen it for years, so maybe I'm over exaggerating with the word perfect, but it does it really well. And with Oppenheimer, you get the same effect, but it's like you could like break it down to three things, I guess, but it feels like five or six things, but they all make sense in your mind. And I think that's like the strength of Nolan's like style at this point, like the unconventional editing and the callbacks to like what he established with Inception and The Prestige, like the back and forth, kind of like it's like the show Lost, but it's in a 3-hour movie, you know? Like it's back and forth and back and forth, but it's told in such an interesting way. And in the theater, it was kind of jarring to go back from a black and white to full color to full IMAX to regular size screens. Like I think technically that's my biggest critique of the film is all the aspect ratio changes are so jarring at times, but you get used to it as you watch the film. And it makes me think of how interesting the Odyssey is going to look because it's all full IMAX. So anyway, another aspect of this film, David, is communism. Socialism, the power of autism that creates fission, smashing into each other. And so does socialist ladies smashing into Oppenheimer, because that's part of what this film's about.
Yeah.
Dude, Florence Pugh was rizzing him up at the party in the beginning. Like, she was like, and look, I get it. Some women out there, not all, some women find intellect extremely attractive, but Florence Pugh is the outlier, man. God dang. This boy is smart. Let me at him. It's like, whoa, okay. Was not seeing that coming. And like it's also an interesting aspect too, because the reason I'm bringing this up, it's cool to see his relationship with Florence Pugh's character as time goes on through his own marriage and as he's, cheating on his wife. But also like some of the stuff that we find out a little later that might have happened, might not have happened. Like he might have been doing even more. And I like how this film really intertwines that and shows how he's not a good person necessarily or at all. But it's fascinating, to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah, he's a very compelling character. And it's like everything's so grounded in reality. Like obviously, there's it's based on a certain book, so like they've taken a certain view of the character. This isn't just a documentary on the life of Oppenheimer, but so there is some drama to it, but at the same time there's no fantastical elements, nothing that explicitly breaks with the known historical sequence of events. So it's all very grounded, it's all very believable, and so you're just kind of drawn into the complexity of Oppenheimer's character and the way Cillian Murphy portrays him. It's very cool. And it's also one thing that's kind of interesting about this film. It's kind of probably unintentional on the part of the director too, given the political leanings of people in Hollywood.
Ooh.
Is it kind of really shows is like human nature is funny sometimes, because it's like, I've seen it, you've seen it. We know how really smart or creative or insightful people can just be so retarded in other ways.
I see where you're getting at.
And it's just like, that's just part of human nature. And this film kind of, in a way I don't think the filmmaker intended, kind of shows that, because all the scientists are like dumb commies, and they're literally like their social and family lives are eroding because of all the like shenanigans they're getting into. And it's just like, it's so funny. It's like very, very, very realistic depiction of human nature. And I don't know if Nolan meant for it to be that way, but he certainly got that message across.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect. Like I the way I described that whole concept is, man, communist babes, he just can't get enough of them. And then you kind of said it so succinctly. So thank you, David. But yeah, that's actually a good point I didn't even think of, is very brilliant people raised in university in their adult life come out this way. And it's tale as old as time, like you said, human nature. And I never really caught that. That's actually pretty interesting. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But going back to kind of the communist babes, David.
You're just all in on these communist babes.
No, come on. Look, I know Oppenheimer had a form of the tism. Let's be real. I mean, Cillian Murphy not only plays it really well as he has a tism, but that guy, to create the atomic bomb, you had to have a tism. You had to have an obsessiveness over a fission, But anyway, the point I'm getting to is Um, I like how this film represents the way he makes his wife feel from the affair. Like the very poignant scene of him in the room saying his answering the questions in the hearing, like say in the kangaroo court. And then you see like I'm not going to describe it. You can go watch the film. But like you see a very clear representation of how his wife sees how he cheated.
Hmm.
And it was, I remember when I was watching, I'm like, this is such a great representation that immediately communicates the feeling and shows it really well. And just the portrayal of it all.
Hmm.
Really, really, I just thought that was really poignant. And it made me like, I don't know, it just made me impressed. I was like, this is really interesting. Like that's the way, that's where you took it. And it's true. It's so true. Again, human nature, man. And human nature of when there's betrayal. So anyway, I think overall, the whole aspect of him going back to this old well of Florence Pugh's character and him just running back to hot messes, dude. Like even Emily Blunt's character, she was married when he met her. And
Hmm.
he starts risen her. He goes full Malcolm character from Jurassic Park, like full Jeff Goldblum on her. And then she gets a divorce. They have a kid. They get married, and it's not healthy at all. Even though she does love him, like she loves him and values him so much. But yeah, it's not healthy at all, and they show that. They show all these just the whole thing about his relationship is so interesting, but that's only one factor of the film. We're not even touching the kind of cool fascinations that they show about science and how it works and how they communicate that to the audience. Also, the inner relationships between all the other characters, with the other scientists, for fact, and Kenneth Branagh's character and his effect, and Albert Einstein and Strauss, and there's all these lines and threads that are pulled and shown, and then finally like woven together toward the end of the film. And I just think it's really impressive. Like, I don't think I could do that. I mean, I don't have that much of a tism for film. I know Christopher Nolan sure does, and that's how he's able to figure all this out and be successful at it. So good on him. But like, yeah, I just thought that aspect in terms of him and the commie babes, for lack of a better term, was really interesting. What other interesting facts? What else you got about this film, David?
I like the visuals, all the practical effects that were used. Like a lot of this, I mean, most of this film is dialogue scenes, so there's not a whole bunch of special effects, but there are special effects. And when you see them, you think it's like, oh, this has to be like CGI, but no, it's as far as I understand it, it's basically all practical effects.
Yeah,
Um,
just right, old fashioned special effects.
yeah, it's very well done. Very, very well done from a technical perspective.
I mean, they
Um,
brought back to life Albert Einstein for this film, and like the actor that's supposed to be playing him on IMDb. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of that actor. So you know what? I think it's just a pseudonym. I think it's actually Albert Einstein.
yeah, it's funny. There is a funny bit of trivia I found on IMDb about that.
Oh, we're gonna read it later, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Let's see. Yes, the visual effects, like visual effects. Yes, they're called visual effects for a reason, whether it be practical or CGI. They're visual effects. It's all very impressive, and especially the opening, David. Like the kind of the opening shot of the puddle that he's looking at. It's just a puddle in the rain. And his mind is thinking about something else while he's looking at that and what it makes it what brings to his mind while he's looking at that and how his mind works. And that's kind of like it's interesting how the visual effects are kind of a vehicle to how his mind works. We don't understand how his mind works, but we get what he's going through. He's
Yeah.
connecting dots, he's thinking, he's pondering, he's obsessing. over this. And it's cool how he uses the soundtrack, the VFX, the visual effects, and the sound design all to kind of convey that. I mean, maybe I'm looking into this film too deep, maybe, but just from watching it, that's what I take away from it.
Yeah, all the various elements that are utilized very well here. The camera work, the special effects, the music, it all comes together to enhance the scenes where it's needed to enhance the scenes, and it never takes away from any of it. Yeah, the only issue with the audio is the issue that every Nolan film has, and he knows
He
that
knows it.
he knows that people don't like it, and he still does it. Is that like the dialogue is so quiet and so unclear, and then you have like these just loud sounds in contrast with it. You have to have like a whisper quiet room where you can crank up the sound as loud as you need to in order to be able to understand the dialogue in this film.
Yeah, if you think it's bad in this one, oh, man, Tenet is so bad. It's so bad in that movie. Like, even in the theater, it was hard to understand what they're saying. I'm like, in a movie, I paid for this ticket, man. Like, come on, man. But anyway, that's ran aside. Again, like the technical aspects of this movie is really impressive, and it's cool because the intertwining of those and conveying like we already said, like how he feels and how he thinks, that kind of thing. But also to like the atomic stuff. And there's not a crazy amount of all that, but it's also well, actually there is. Never mind. Like the whole sequence in the stadium
Mm-hmm.
where it's after they dropped in on Japan, and you're starting to see his emotions as he's slowly realizing what he's done and how Kenneth Branagh's character was correct. And as we find out Albert Einstein's quote to him too, like same exact thing. Like, you are going to change the world, but can you carry that weight? And that thread intertwines with Strauss and how from a petty quote from a hearing that Strauss was present for is what starts this resentful relationship in this petty view of Oppenheimer that Strauss has. And at first you're like, dude, it's just one thing. Like, why are you so mad? But then like to see RDJ's performance of that character, and to see like how selfish and self-centered Strauss's character is really entertaining. Like, he plays it, and I think RDJ, like, yeah, he's typecast as Iron Man. That's who he is. But I think he does a really good job at kind of disappearing into Strauss. And I think the black and white film helps a little bit.
Yeah, he does, because I actually at first didn't know it was him.
Really?
And then it dawned on me later, and was like, but he's like, he just looks so much older, so much thinner, and he's not doing his like Iron Man thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's not like, he's basically known for being Iron Man and then the black dude in Tropic Thunder. So,
the black dude in Tropic Thunder. What was his name? Oh man, I gotta look that up now.
Yeah, I can't remember what his character's name was. It was something really ridiculous. It was
it's like Isaac or something.
It was like something Lazarus.
Kirk Lazarus. Oh, dude. He was a dude playing a dude, and now he was disguised as a senator. All right. Well, where are we going with this? I can't remember.
I was just praising Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. He does a really good job as Strauss.
Let me see if he let me look that up real quick if he won anything. Um, but yeah, and Alden Ehrenreich is just this foil that he gets to like throw stuff at, and Alden Ehrenreich kind of feeds him the whole film, and he's supposed to be this assistant character, and then like Alden Ehrenreich gets betrayed and does all these things, and I don't know why I'm doing this thing with my arm, but it feels right when I'm saying this, and it's just really entertaining. And it goes to show the like quality again of the dialogue, the writing, and not only that, but the performances. Like everybody does just a fantastic job in this movie. I can't think. Can you think of anybody that kind of didn't really, excuse me, phone that didn't really stand out, or maybe phoned it in, or I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, no, pretty much everyone gave a good performance in this film. I don't think there were any bad performances at all. I mean, obviously, you know, it's like with such a large cast, like you can't like maybe not all the characters got like to be in the spotlight as much as they might have been if it had been a smaller cast in a movie, but like, you know, so some of the characters didn't get as much lines of dialogue, didn't get as much screen time. But as far as the quality of the acting, I think it was great across the board.
Yeah, I kept saying when we were watching it, I was like, yo, Remy Malek's just standing there not saying anything. Like, dude was played Freddie Mercury, and he's just standing there with a clipboard and pen. And that's all he's doing. And then you get to see him in the very end where he gets to say his piece, and it's really cool. It's really good. Back to RDJ here, he basically almost won everything for this role. He won the Screen Actors Guild, so SAG. He won BAFTA, Golden Globe, and Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. That's crazy. I mean, his role, side tangent here, David. His role in this really makes me curious to see how he handles Victor Von Doom in Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, which is coming out this Christmas. I feel like this role definitely was like, oh, hey, let's get him back and do that. But I'm worried that it's not going to be as deep as Strauss. I'm just concerned that he's going to phone it in or something, but I don't know if he will or not. I have a sneaky suspicion that we're going to expect this amazing performance of him as Victor Von Doom. But I feel like we're going to be kind of disappointed. In hindsight, that is, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of popcorn candy moments in this film that people are going to be like, oh my God, this is the best movie ever. I love this movie. And then I feel like the performance is going to be like not criticized, really. I don't know. That's just my feeling on it. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm not really at this point.
You're not an MCU man in general.
I'm just like I'm totally checked out.
I do have a question though. Did you watch Guardians 3? With Rocket?
No, I didn't.
Oh man. Man, we gotta watch that movie because that's a good ass movie, David. Like, you saw the first two.
Yeah, I saw the first two.
Yeah, hell yeah. Now the third one though. Now that's a good ass movie. 2023, Barbenheimer. That was also 24. That was a good ass movie right there.
You know what? I think I saw parts of it now that
The Rocket.
now that I think about it. Yeah,
Good.
I've heard good things about the film, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll enjoy it as much as you.
Probably not. But I'll tell you what, man. That's a good ass movie. I still think my favorite is 2 out of the trilogy, but 3, it's just good stuff.
No, 2's the best, hands down. One was
fine.
One was fine.
Yeah.
It kind of laid the groundwork, but it wasn't that great of a film.
Yeah.
But it did lay the groundwork kind of for 2. 2 was a really standout film. I feel like it had excellent performances. It just had that emotional core.
Yeah. Everything but Drax, though. I will say that. I think Drax was the most disappointing factor of that movie. Like everybody had like an emotional arc, except for Drax.
Yeah.
He's just there to make jokes.
Pretty much.
Which, if he's not needed, I understand. Not every character needs to have an emotional act or arc. But pretty much every character did in number 2, that is.
Yeah, I mean, it also, like, given the way his character is, like, what emotional arc could they have given him? Like
Yeah.
his whole kind of role in all those films is to do the typical MCU thing where they undercut serious moments with a joke.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, and when you never fly over my head, I would catch it.
but I mean, like Dave Bautista's performance in that movie is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like he's a good ass
He's
actor,
good. Yeah.
and he's also in Blade Runner 2049.
That's right.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
small role, but I really enjoyed that. As small as it was, I really enjoyed his performance in that movie.
You know what? Maybe he should be like the song and dance the CEO of the movie the production company in the song and dance movie I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Can you imagine with him with a cigar, buzz cut, with a beard, and being like, "We got to bring those movies back." Jerry Garfield, come on, man, come here, Tom Holland and David Cornsweet. Let's make us a movie. I don't know. I'm just joking at this point. Coen Brothers, directed by the Coen Brothers.
Directed by the Coen Brothers.
All right, continuing on. Speaking of characters, David, Emily Blunt was awesome as the wife. Like, I feel like her performance is not very noticeable compared to everything else around it. But Emily Blunt, again and again and again, she's a good ass actress. She delivers pretty much every time. Even something like Jungle Cruise, or even something like Disclosure Day. Like, she has great chops as an actor. And she really, I think, gave a good performance in this. It's like muted compared to everything else around this film. But she's just another kind of shining star, I would say.
Yeah, she her performance is not the most, she doesn't have the most screen time, it's not the most flashy, but it delivers when it needs to.
Yeah.
Like the scene that you were talking about before where she sees Florence Pugh doing her thing
Yep.
while they're in the hearing together, and just like when that scene started happening, I was like, what's going on? But then you see her reaction to it, then you start to understand she's seeing this in her head.
Yeah.
And there's no dialogue or anything. Just her facial expression alone communicates exactly what she's feeling in that moment, and it's very effective.
Yeah, it's that moment, and then just I think throughout the whole film you could probably pick bits and pieces of really great aspects of her character, especially in the end. Like when it's later in life and she has to revisit all these people that betrayed Oppenheimer, and how she looks at Teller the way she does. Same thing a little bit, where she doesn't shake the guy's hand. And just a lot of good stuff there. Also, Drake and Josh is in this. And he's just randomly there. Jack Quaid is a scientist, apparently.
Yeah.
You know?
Jack Quaid is Richard Feynman.
You
And
would have never guessed.
I must have not been paying attention during all those parts, but apparently he plays the bongos a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Like when the atomic bomb went off, he's playing them bongos.
I
think also at the Christmas party too.
Yes, supposedly it happens multiple times. I guess I missed every single every single instance, because I only know because I because I was going through the trivia.
Yeah. Thanks also for writing the intro this week. Appreciate it. What did you write? Women Atoll or Communist Atoll? Was it Bikini Atoll?
Yeah, Bikini Atoll. Do you know the significance of that?
Well, you caught me. I'm a fake man. No, I don't. It sounds like Ive Atoll, or what's that word from? It's Russia, right?
An atoll is I don't know
I've
how
heard the term before.
It's an atoll is like a particular kind of island structure where it's like little bits of land kind of like arranged in like a circle around water.
Okay.
So it's almost like a little ring structure of islands. That's what an atoll is. And the Bikini Atoll is located in the Marshall Islands, and it's one of the places where the
Oh, I see why you wrote it down.
it's one of the places where the US decided to test nuclear weapons, and they
Oh,
forcibly removed the people who were living there, uh, and like, incinerated the place with a nuclear bomb. And then a few days later, the inventor of the bikini swimsuit gave it the name because he hoped that his invention would be as hot and explosive as what was done to Bikini Atoll.
what?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
Wow, that's a deep cut. I like that. That's guiding you through this plastic world, dropping bombs hotter than Bikini Atoll. Oh my God, where were we? Benny Safdie is randomly in this, the director of Good Time. Just like what? He's in this. Matthew Modine is just randomly walking through a door, and then like, oh, holy crap, Matthew Modine's here. What the heck? Like, and then Kenneth Branagh is in here like for 2 scenes, and then you mentioned, David, that you didn't recognize what's his face, the oh, who are we talking? Oh, RDJ. You
Mm.
didn't necessarily recognize him first time. Same thing with Gary Oldman when Truman showed up on screen. Like
Yeah, yeah,
afterward, I was like,
yeah.
"Hey, you know who that was?" And you're like, oh, "Who was it?" I was like, "Gary Oldman." He's like, "Oh, dang, that was Gary Oldman." And that's what I thought when I went to go see the film. I saw it and I'm like, "Man, Truman looks so familiar. Who is that guy?" And then I Googled it later, and it was it was Gary Oldman.
And the funny thing is, when we were watching it, I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and I was getting Gary Oldman vibes, but I was like, no, it can't be. And then you said it was, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, he played Churchill and Truman. Crazy. Also, Josh Hartnett is in this film, and I think before this, he wasn't in a whole lot of movies. Like he was more in like, the romantic stuff back in the day, romantic comedy stuff. And then like he kind of like this and Josh from Drake and Josh, like just really good performances in random roles. And I think Josh Hartnett's actually a really good standout because it's the opposite of Oppenheimer. Like this guy who's more level-headed. We need to stay away from this stuff. This is how he is away from all of the criticism, is because he removed himself from all this and didn't go to he wasn't obsessed with communism, kind of like a other Oppenheimer or reverse Oppenheimer. And then you get like he gives a great performance. Same thing with Dane DeHaan. Dane DeHaan does the same old thing where he looks mad all the time. Oh, and my favorite performance of this film, David, Jason Clarke, like who was accusing Oppenheimer, who was at the table. I think for me, like I love RDJ so much in this movie, and he's great. But David Krumholtz and Jason Clarke are probably my favorites because you have one guy who's just this lovable friend of Oppenheimer who's supportive and is willing to do things and supporting him throughout the years, and then you have this guy who's the exact opposite and is trying to take him for all he's worth, visceral, full of wrath, vitriol. It's everything that Strauss wants to do to Oppenheimer, Jason Clarke gets to do and ruin his career, his reputation, everything. And it all goes on record. And Jason Clarke, especially in the like emotional crescendo of that one final scene in the room where they're doing the hearing thing, where Jason Clarke's just berating Oppenheimer, trying to get him to incriminate himself. Like that whole drama was probably even more entertaining than the whole explosion test part to
Mhm.
me. Like it's one of the outstanding parts of the film. One thing I love about Jason Clarke, he was in a film where it was a retelling of what happened at Chappaquiddick with Ted Kennedy, and he played Ted Kennedy. This was a film from 2017, and it's a wonderful, really interesting, like political thriller about what happened at Chappaquiddick and the outpouring of information, the narrative, how they're trying to hide what happened there, and the drowning of Mary Jo. And they don't even go into specifics of things that were rumored or confirmed. It's kind of this very neutral telling out of Hollywood, which was really surprising, and a very truthful telling of what happened at Chappaquiddick. And Jason Clarke, his performance as Ted Kennedy is awesome. Like I didn't grow up through that era, but I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, "Wow, that's like really accurate," because there was all these things and all these controversies and all this drama around it. Also, Ed Helms of the Hangover movies gives an amazing Best Supporting Actor performance. Like, no joke. Like, super, super good performance. But anyway, back to this political thriller, Oppenheimer. I just love Jason Clarke in this movie. He's so evil and nasty, and you just love to hate him. Which goes into a thing I did want to bring up here, David. And that's regarding villains in Nolan films. I had a little thing here. I guess I'll read it out here. There's an interesting aspect to Nolan's films, and that is the villains and their relationship with the protagonist. In each of his films, he explores different versions of villain and hero relationships. For example, we have Insomnia with Al Pacino and Robin Williams, The Prestige with Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. And as I list these off, just kind of, if you've seen those films, listen, like think back to their performance, your experience watching them, basically. So you got Prestige, Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Al Pacino and Robin Williams in Insomnia. You have The Dark Knight with Joker, Batman Begins with Ra's al Ghul, and Bane in Dark Knight Returns. In Inception, you got Leo's wife. And then in Oppenheimer, the rival scientists. After watching Oppenheimer, honestly, I think the nuances of villains in quotes, I think this is probably the most realistic portrayal that I've seen in any of Nolan's films. And it's cool how he's exploring this throughout the entire film. And I would argue that the enemy, the evil, I didn't think of this earlier, but the villain in Dunkirk is not, was it Mussolini? Is that right? It's Germany, right? It's Italy or Germany, one of those. Anyway,
I'm not familiar with what actually happened in
yeah,
Dunkirk.
World War One. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, I would argue the villain in Dunkirk is not the Germans. It is time. Because if you've seen that film, you know what I'm talking about. You could argue the same thing with Tenet, but I think Tenet's so convoluted that the protagonist could be the antagonist. I don't know. Anyway, but what do you think of that, David? How each of his films, I mean, you could also argue time is the enemy in Interstellar. Like, what do you think about this kind of exploration in each of his films with the term villain? It's very different almost in every one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Nolan's films don't always have a clear-cut villain, because it's like there's antagonists, and sometimes they're people, and sometimes they're just forces, like time. But also they're not necessarily villains in a true sense of the term either. It's always more complicated than that.
A great example of that is Insomnia with which I don't think you've seen, but with Robin Williams as the killer. It's so interesting because it's like Al Pacino sets up a meeting with him, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna arrest you. I just want to talk. I just want to talk." It's like he talks with him on like this ferry or whatever, and Robin Williams escapes. But it's such an interesting conversation that they have on the boat, and the things he admits, the things he doesn't admit, and just the kind of dread you get from Robin Williams' performance of that character and how that character is written. But there's more nuances. Like, yes, he's the murderer, but he's so convincing of why he did what he did and how it was, in his view, an accident. And it's just very, I mean, the whole end of The Dark Knight is basically, who is the real villain? You know, oh, I'm just a chaotic agent and all this, as the Joker says.
Yeah. This movie is like, I think the antagonist in this film is bureaucracy. But at the same time, the bureaucrats aren't necessarily like the villains, I think Strauss comes closest to being like an actual villain because he's kind of revealed to be the architect of this whole shenanigan, and it's all driven by his desire for revenge against Oppenheimer. So in that sense, Strauss definitely is sort of revealed at the end to be like a villain in like a classical sense, but like the antagonists in this film are all just like they're just bureaucrats driven by just a desire to control. Um, like they don't really have a good reason to do any of the things that they're doing. They just do those things because they're bureaucrats, and that's what bureaucrats do. Um,
And how they will ruin the lives of anyone to seek power
and
or to
also,
keep their power.
and also too, it's like, um, also too, it's like at the same time, it's like you don't really necessarily feel super bad for Oppenheimer because he's kind of a terrible person,
Yeah.
and
And he's also choosing to go through with the kangaroo court thing. Like, it's his choice to do it. Like, his life would be worse if he didn't do it, but it's also going to be worse if he does do it.
yeah, it's like at this point, like he already knew going in that this whole thing was designed to take him down. That there was like he could have just spared himself the trouble and not tried to appeal the denial of his clearance, you know?
Yeah.
He could have just been like at this point too, and he would have been vindicated because like he's freaking Robert Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Like, he's going to be renowned for the rest of time.
Yeah, it's like he's
And
not
he knows that.
he's not like hurting for he's not like hurting for money or anything. He's not hurting for fame. He could have
He could have wrote a post in Time Magazine every month and get paid a lot of money.
yeah, it's like
There's other ways he could have made money.
he could have lived his life. He could have lived a very comfortable life, but he chose to go through this, and not really because like there was anything at stake necessarily, just out of kind of his own pride.
Yep. Yeah.
Like he just had to make sure that he was seen as being persecuted in all of this. So it's like, it's kind of interesting. Like, yeah, there's people who are against Oppenheimer, but also like Oppenheimer kind of brought all these problems on himself too.
Yeah, I mean, his pride was his downfall because of he's the whole reason of why Strauss hates him is because he dissed Strauss in a hearing. And you know what? We all make mistakes and stuff, and you kind of see that. Like the guy's like, yeah, that he's like, oh, that went well, and then the guy next to Oppenheimer was like, yeah, you went a little too well. Like you could have held off a little bit, but it was his choice to make, and he did it. And he's kind of at fault to blame for everything that happens to him. And in fact, Emily Blunt, his wife, who plays the wife, her character says that to him when this mistress dies. Like she's kind of saying, like, I will not pity you for the sins that you have to suffer the consequences of. And I was like, damn, that's. And she stays with him after that. That's crazy. But she's a crazy woman, and he's, like you said, David, he's in love with the crazy. I'm trying to think of, I think we covered everything I wrote down that I wanted to cover. Was there anything else you wanted to hop into before we dive over into the trivia?
I think we pretty much covered it.
You don't want to talk about all your quotes that you said during the film about Jews and commie babes?
Man, I mean,
Jews don't think of themselves as citizens of the country they live in.
it's just one of those things. It's like, audience, you had to be
Yeah,
there.
David is far right as far as I'm joking.
You had to be there.
Yeah, you had to be there. It was Especially the one about Jews sticking together, like when David Krumholtz's character, Robbie, hands Oppenheimer the orange. They gotta stick together. It's like out of context, it's hilarious and very inappropriate. But in context, it's more funny and it's just as inappropriate. So don't cancel David. He's uncancelable. Let's be real. We love him too much around here. We like you just the way you are, David. All right. The trivia. So, David, you came up with all this and just like the intro. And so I'm just going to read it verbatim. You ready? All right. Number 1. In order for the black and white sections of the film to be shot in the same quality as the rest of the film, Kodak produced a limited supply, interesting, of its XX black and white film stock in 70 millimeter. Dang. This film stock was chosen specifically for its heritage. It was originally sold to photographers as Super XX during World War II and was very popular with photojournalists of the era. That's cool. That's really dope. Man, Nolan's such a nerd. All right, next one. Matt Damon was on a break from acting as a promise to his wife, with one condition. It would go on hold if Sir Christopher Nolan called. As luck would have it, Nolan offered Damon the role of Leslie Groves, and the break went on hold. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's kind of cool. Oh, let's see. The next one. The Trinity detonation scene uses a combination of practical effects and digital compositing, excuse me. And multiple explosions were performed practically with a hybrid of gasoline, propane, aluminum, and magnesium substances involving big miniatures. That was my nickname in high school. These were filmed at high speeds from multiple angles and then layered using digital effects to create the iconic mushroom cloud. That's also a really cool thing about this film. You don't see a full atomic explosion on screen. You just see parts of it. And this is how they do it. Pretty cool, man. And I'm sure, like, even though it, like, saved money in terms of paying VFX artists to do it, I'm sure that costs a pretty penny to get all that shot, however many weeks it took. All right, going on. Albert Einstein was resurrected and starred in this movie that Christopher Nolan directed. No, I'm joking. Albert Einstein is shown walking in the woods with is it Godel?
Yeah.
All right, Godel. The two of them did actually take long walks together. Oh, as friends at the Institute for Advanced Studies. That's cool. Again, Nolan's a big nerd, but it's cool. Several scenes were shot on location at Princeton. Tom Conti found it really funny, in quotes, really very funny, in quotes, to walk through Princeton and have people react to him dressed as Albert Einstein. That's awesome. I'm telling you, Tom Conti is just Albert Einstein resurrected. Come on, man. Let's see. Sir Christopher Nolan insisted on immersion while shooting this film. He required the cast to rehearse in full costume and that they be properly dressed before coming on set. Any actor caught wearing modern clothing would be given a long, hard stare until they changed. This was done out of the belief that it could keep the cast ready to shoot at a moment's notice and prevent delays. The AEC hearing room 2022 scenes were filmed in an existing office room with 4 walls and no air conditioning. Wow. Sir Christopher Nolan. That's funny. That's his title. I just find it funny.
Yeah, it's funny that they keep saying that. Yeah.
Mr. Nolan wanted the claustrophobia for the actors to be genuine and set a challenge for filming within limited space without being able to move the ceiling or the walls as normally would be done on a studio set. He and the other crew members had to crouch out of camera angles in the camera range or sit on the floor during filming. That's cool. Cillian Murphy. Oh, I see. I caught myself, David. Cillian Murphy, already quite slim, had to lose a significant amount of weight to better approximate the real J. Robert Oppenheimer's appearance. He also trained in horseback riding to look more comfortable in the saddle while galloping. Not gallivanting, galloping. Pretty much the entire cast, which includes David, you have a face right there that's saying that I'm close to reading something that I'm not expecting to read. And I just I dread it.
I don't think there's anything like that in there. I think you're misreading my face, but I might have snuck something in there and forgot about it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, continuing on. Pretty much the entire cast, which which included A-listers and respected veterans, signed on just to work with Christopher Nolan. Despite some, like Sir Gary Oldman, only appearing for one scene and taking hefty salary cuts. Gangster. And had to put all that makeup on. Who knows how many days it took for them to shoot that, or even weeks. Emily Blunt declared Cillian Murphy the best actor she's ever worked with, and also her favorite to act with. She expressed admiration for his ability to slip into character the moment action was called, and returning to himself immediately after hearing cut. That's cute. In addition to studying recordings of the real Oppenheimer's voice, Cillian Murphy also based his voice on Orson Welles and Fred Rogers. I remember hearing about that. I think that's really cool. All right, next, when Oppenheimer is questioned about the casualties in the bombing of Hiroshima, see, that's one Japanese word I can say, he replies 70,000 people. The data is historically accurate. After the detonation of the bomb, 70,000 people died instantly in the nuclear blast, although the final number is calculated between 70K and 126K dead. And of course, that's including also the injured and the mutilated, who did also die over time by the radiation effects. That's a lot of people dead, man. That's a lot of people dead, especially for that time. Like it says here, over making a total of 129,000 or 226,000. Like just from the poisoning over the decades. Like, gosh dang, that's crazy. Well, I mean, would you rather? Well, I mean, I guess we figured it out in history, but I guess they did do the would you rather, but do a land invasion of Japan during that time with kamikaze dudes and planes crashing into you, into warships, kamikaze dudes with grenades strapped to them and running at them, the Japanese in that era fighting were crazy. The Pacific, I think Band of Brothers actually kind of goes into this with the Pacific War, like the Pacific aspect of World War II. Like it's crazy, like some of the stuff that was reported there. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not saying we justified the atomic bomb. I'm just saying, I mean, this film explored the realities of it.
Yeah, the alternative would have seen a lot of people
millions,
die.
Man. It would have been bad. I mean, it was bad both ways. So anyway, continuing on, Oppenheimer's kitchen curtains have ginkgo tree leaves. Huh? Ginkgo tree leaves on them. A group of ginkgo trees famously managed to survive the Hiroshima bombing. Okay. That's cool. As with his previous films, Christopher Nolan printed the script in black ink on red paper, so it couldn't be photocopied. I believe that's the same for most of the Marvel movies nowadays. I think the Doomsday script was the same, but nowadays you can just scan PDF with your phone. So I think that's how people are getting around it. Sir Christopher Nolan's longest running film at 180 minutes. It was Nolan's wish to surpass his previous longest film, Interstellar, at 169 minutes.
Yeah, see, that's part of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this movie is long.
You feel the length of this movie, and he's a little up his own ass. It's like, why would a filmmaker? It's like, yeah,
I gotta get it longer.
I want to make this my longest movie ever. It's like, okay.
Let me see real quick the Odyssey runtime. Let's see, Odyssey runtime, professional podcasting over here. Oh, it's shorter, 2:52, 2 hours and 52 minutes. Well, it's only 3 minutes longer than Interstellar. That's still a long ass movie. Who cares if it's 3 minutes or whatever? It's still long. All right, next up, where in the world was I, David? I was in the mood. There it is. The only fictional character in the film is the Senate aide played by Alden Ehrenreich. Oh, that's okay. Nice. Next, Rami Malek made such an impact on his brief role as David Hill that the real-life scientist gained a Wikipedia article just 3 days after the film's theatrical release. Wow. Talk about the tism. The film company Kodak pioneered the first ever black and white IMAX format film, especially for the film to ensure color accuracy for its monochrome segments. Kodak is also known for pioneering the Kodachrome. Sorry, I got lost in the paragraph. I'm not trying to pronounce, I know how to pronounce Kodachrome, guys. The Kodachrome film, that was the earliest successful color film for cinematography, made possible by the financing of Louis Strauss himself, who was an investment banker before his career in government and the subsequent career focus into atomic energy policy. That's fascinating, dude. Next one up, Sir Christopher Nolan only needed 3 months to prep the film, and he shot it in just, 57 days. It's only 2 months. That's awesome. All right, next up here. We're almost there. Truman's annoyance at Oppenheimer's blood on his hands comment makes perfect sense given that Harry S. Truman had been involved in far greater military decisions with far more death even before the bombings of the Battle of Okinawa, which killed 250,000 people on both sides. Dang. Let's see. And every day of the Pacific War circa mid-1945 was costing tens of thousands of mostly civilian deaths. Wow, I did not know that. Truman was also a World War I artilleryman and, quotes, proved to be very capable artillery officer, displaying great courage and initiative while under enemy fire, end quote. So he had personal experience of battle and had directly killed people, while J. Robert Oppenheimer was a scientist and who had never served in the military, which may have contributed to Truman's historically accurate reaction. Yeah, what a cuck. Let's be real. I mean,
that was such a great moment in the movie. It's like, never, don't let that crybaby in here ever again.
Crybaby in here. Also, speaking of hardened men, Eisenhower, that dude was on the Pacific Theater in World War II.
Yeah.
Who was overseeing all this. And that guy was president. So that guy knew what war was like. Brutal war was like. I mean, war is hell. So they all lived through it. You got to give him credit, man. All right, last two. According to multiple sources, Cillian Murphy restricted himself to, one almond a day during parts of the filming in order to maintain Oppenheimer's gaunt profile.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember. I came across something.
I remember hearing about that.
I came across something that apparently there was a certain point in his life where the real life Oppenheimer, like, only weighed, like, he was like 5'11" and only weighed like 115 pounds.
And the women were all over him? I don't believe it.
And like his like normal weight for his adult life was like some 128, 130, something like that.
Dang. Man, women be a simps out there, man, in this film at least. Dang. Anyway. Sorry, I'm getting a little caught up here, man. Communist babes. Last one, guys. This film surpassed Bohemian Rhapsody as the highest grossing biological film worldwide. Both films feature Rami Malek. And then Oppenheimer held the record until most recently. It was surpassed by this year's Michael biopic. Pretty interesting. Well, David, what is your final thoughts on Oppenheimer?
What a picture.
What a picture. My eyes see Oppenheimer. Oh my God. That clip of the Academy Award of him announcing Oppenheimer as Best Picture, I love it so much. He doesn't give an F, dude. Al Pacino's like, everywhere he goes now. Like, Jeff Keighley got him at the Game Awards a couple years ago, David, to present the Best Actor Award. And gave it to freaking Christopher Judge as Kratos. And Christopher Judge, speaking of people up their own ass, did a speech for like 8 minutes long.
Oh my
he talked
God.
about his family, his daughter, minorities, how he's black.
Oh my God.
It was ridiculous. And the music started playing him off to like get out of here after a minute. The music kept going and he just stayed on stage and kept saying stuff. and they didn't get him off.
Yeah.
And Al Pacino just had to stand there, the poor old 80-year-old, for 8 minutes while Christopher Judge regales how amazing he did as Kratos in God of War Ragnarok.
God.
What a prick. I love Christopher Judge. Personally, I'm a huge fan, but that was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that whole scene too is like he's like, my eyes see Oppenheimer, and then all of us like the music like starts a little bit late.
Yeah, they're like, oh shoot, he said it.
Yeah, it's just like the whole energy too. He had like that Dunkachino energy.
Yes. Oh, dude, I bet you in the control booth, people are like, oh, like he said Oppenheimer, and then they're like, oh, he said it quick, cue it, go. And because the orchestra is played like in a different location, like, and there's latency, I bet, like some form of latency, I bet they were a while, they're like, they're watching the prompt, like, oh shoot, go, and they started playing the music, like.
Do the Academy Awards have live music?
Yeah, but it's hosted in a different building, and they have to watch it on screen and do it accordingly.
What a strange thing to do.
Which is so interesting because, I mean, speaking of the Game Awards, they have a live orchestra, which makes it even cooler. So, anyway. Well, I think that's it, David. Dang, we went long. We were almost at Oppenheimer runtime. Alrighty, David. Well, I think we're going to end it there.
Yeah.
If you, audience, made it to this point, go ahead and type the word Big Banana Oppenheimer in the comments. Because that's what that guy had to have. God dang, dude. Like, intellect, that's it, ladies. That's all it takes for some of you out there. I don't know. Just, it makes me...
Maybe it was his
I think it was
sexy Robin Williams voice.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Real life Oppenheimer? What?
No, I don't know.
You said a Robin Williams voice.
Well, I mean, Cillian Murphy did listen to recordings of him.
That's true. Yeah, and you did make that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I got real Robin Williams vibes from the voice performance of Cillian Murphy. Because Robin Williams, I mean, does all sorts of voices, but he had like one particular kind of thing that he did when he was like speaking low and real seriously.
Yeah.
And like, I just could not get that out of my head every time Cillian Murphy opened his mouth. So yeah.
Well, I think we'll end it there, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if you have a suggestion for Two Films podcast, remember the concept is two films paired with a coherent theme. This one was Barbenheimer. Go ahead and send us in whatever you got, because we'll take a gander at it. You could comment below, email us at snarpfanglepod@gmail.com, or just text me. It's up to you. Or text David if you have his number. Anyway, we'll bid you adieu, and remember this. Whenever you're walking the low wastelands, and you're thinking to yourself, man, war never changes. And surprisingly, what does change is feminism. But you know what also doesn't change? Like war, the patriarchy doesn't change either. So remember, as you go galloping across the way with the coconut sound effects right behind you, remember to look back at where you were as you walk the wasteland. And as you quote Ron Perlman, think to yourself, it's time to make a change. Goodbye. And Snarp Fangle on.
Bye-bye now.